In the halls of power where the secrets flow, who you trust? Tell me, who do you trust? Who you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust? Do you trust? When the whispers grow.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Political Theater, guys. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. And tonight we have a good announcement here. We are on live on Rumble, YouTube, and Substack and X all at the same time, and everything appears to be working as of right now. So I'm sure I just jinxed us somehow there, making sure that we're definitely going to have some sort of problem just because I said that in the first place. But thank you guys for being here anyway. We've got a lot to talk about this evening. We've got a lot to go over. So thank you guys for showing up. Make sure you guys share this space out. Make sure you guys share the link out if you're listening on any of the other platforms that we are live on right now. So today, I think the first thing I definitely want to go over is Full Stop Jackie. Our favorite from the Supreme Court is, I don't know. The DEI candidate of the court, I guess, is the only way to really describe this woman. But today, in oral arguments for the VRA case, this is about the redistricting based on racial lines. It is pretty incredible to see. I don't think this is going to go very well for them because just based on Ketanji's arguments today. She referred to all black people that are part of this as, they are essentially the same as the disabled. I'm not joking. That's what she said. So this is incredible stuff. So we've got a lot to go over on that. We've also got to go talk about some new stuff about the indictments that are going to be coming forward from Kash Patel. He had a lot to say on that earlier. There's a little bit more fallout from the Politico story from yesterday that, at this point now, I think everybody's pretty much moved on in terms of the conservative media because it's really not that important. But we'll talk about it anyway. So we'll cover a little bit of that. And there's a lot to go over. It looks like NBC is firing a bunch of people that are in their LGBT department, I guess. I don't know. They're losing 100+ people. So we'll have to add more to our list of fallen journalists that we cover pretty often here. So we've got that to cover and a whole lot more. So thank you guys for showing up at the theater. And Trash, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, hey, good. Yeah, good opening there. I think that pretty much sums up what I was going to talk about today as well. Seems to be what's going on. But there's a lot to it. As we enter this era, hopefully, now I don't want to see people get demonetized. I think a lot of people worked pretty hard and put a lot of effort in this app to get monetized. To have that taken away kind of sucks. But at the same time, maybe we can bring back some merit again and not have the system completely gamed. So that's an interesting development. We'll see how that shakes out. With that being said, as you know how we feel about this platform, I don't know what's happened to it, but it's fine. But yeah, no, I'm watching all the melties across the legacy media, across the left-wing accounts, the agitprop farmers, most of them probably foreign. Nevertheless, it has kicked up into high gear, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Meanwhile, Trump and Cash and some updates from John Solomon and Cash Patel we've got to play here. I do have the argument where Full Stop Jackie actually made the argument. It was fascinating to me.
Yeah, I've got it too. We definitely have to play it, dude. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to say it was the other Stephen Miller, Red Steez, who brought this up. He says, "I am changing my stance. I actually do want to have cameras in the Supreme Court," and I agreed. I want to watch it in real time. His comment was he wants to watch Alito basically, react to Full Stop Jackie, Ketanji Brown Jackson, make her ridiculous arguments in court. And I agree. This goes back to the Missouri v. Biden, which morphed into Murphy v. Missouri censorship case. And the arguments that she was making for the First Amendment and the government were just fascinating to me. How not only like a Tim Kaine saying, the government bestows the Bill of Rights to you as citizens, which is ridiculous. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, Full Stop Jackie, was really concerned in that case about the government's ability to quell or quash dissenting voices and how the government should have an ability to do so, really fascinating stuff by a sitting Supreme Court justice, but I would expect nothing less of a person who can't define what a woman is, and she's still placed on the Supreme Court. So, lots to talk about here. Lots of good things happening. A lot of things moving and shaking, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, full stop Jackie. For those who don't know why we call her full stop Jackie, her dissent that she had. What was that case? Which case was it? Was it the? I don't remember which one it was. It was. I think it was about the
deference. It was either Chevron deference or it was.
Oh, it was the affirmative action one. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. It was the affirmative action one. In her dissent, I kid you not, she wrote down in Supreme Court ledger, in Supreme Court opinion, she actually said, "Full stop." I mean, I don't. That's why she's full stop Jackie to us. I will never laugh harder than I did when it got to the point where she was talking about aliens descending from another planet to see the Constitution. Yes, amazing stuff from Full Stop Jackie. So I do want to play this just so we can talk about it for a minute here, because this is the most ridiculous argument I think I've ever heard from Ketanji so far. And, you know, it's always very impressive to see how she manages to come up with this stuff. So you got to give her points for creativity, I guess. I mean, she is a theater kid. She did want to be on Broadway. So we found that out, by the way. Man, I should have pulled that clip for today. That would have been perfect to have her on Broadway. That maybe I'll see if I can find that real quick, because that's just a perfect representation of this person. So anyhow, let's go ahead and play this clip here, because this is Ketanji on the court today during oral arguments.
Of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect, because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
Just incredible. Like, it's just incredible. Like, I mean, what on earth is that argument? Like, does anybody have any idea what she was even talking about? She's trying to make some sort of argument that the ADA for disabled people is equivalent to black people not being able to vote. So does that mean that your argument is that black people are disabled and they can't vote? Is that what the argument is here? Like, it's really amazing that this woman is a Supreme Court justice, and this is the argument that she came up with. Like, it's like, it's come up with anything you can possibly say. Like, I can't wait to read when they, by the way, Clarence Thomas was amazing on this, and we'll play that here in a little bit. So we'll play some of him as well on this, but what do you think her dissent's going to say? Because, you know, like, as far as I can tell, it looks like the court's going to rule properly on this. They're going to rule that this is not, you know, it's not constitutional. You're using immutable traits to determine things that are in by law, which is not constitutional. So my guess is that'll be thrown out. But the question is, what do you think Ketanji will say in the dissent? Like, that's going to be a good one.
Well, this kind of reminds you. By the way, I found the clip that you were looking for, the Romeo and Juliet appearance. I sent that to you. But so is the argument that there aren't handicap ramps at voting centers, and that's why the black community can't vote, because they don't have ramps? Is this like the Miss Teen South Carolina, because many out there don't have maps, and so they don't know where countries are, because we need to put more maps in the hands of kids around the world? Is that what kind of argument we've got here? I guess I don't understand. Let's tease it out a little bit here. So it's not the ramps, okay? Because most churches that do house either voting centers, like we deal with here in Arizona, where I vote at a church, which is a quote unquote voting center, which is another scam. It's where you have oversized paper ballots that don't work in the machines correctly, and voila, everyone's disenfranchised on election day. Um, but is this that black people can't read? Is this like the old trope where you go interview a bunch of college kids on like a prestigious campus, quote unquote prestigious, and they don't have ID? Is that because that was blown up as well? So it's not they don't have ID. It's not a ramp. Is it that they can't read? Is this a referendum on our schooling systems? Maybe. I'm not really sure where she's going with it. And that word salad. And listen, Queen of the World word salad in Kamala Harris. That's a tough crown to knock off someone's head. I feel like a sitting Supreme Court justice, for God's sakes, shouldn't surely be wearing a word salad crown. But I think we're here, and amazing the stretch to use the ADA, the American Disabilities Act, to correlate with black people have access to having access to voting. I feel like we've transported back to 2014 somehow.
It really is amazing. Like, it's amazing. And by the way, I do have to put this up on the screen for people to see because this was just amazing. So let me just pull this up real quick because the Babylon Bee, if those who are not familiar with the Babylon Bee, I don't know where you've been, but they never miss. If you guys didn't know that, that is a well-known fact. The bee never misses. So this was what their take was. Clarence Thomas gently explains to KBJ that not all black people are mentally disabled, just her. And I lost it when I read that. That is just a perfect headline from Babylon Bee. Fantastic stuff. It's just hysterical. So I loved that. I loved when I saw this one. But we should play some of Clarence Thomas's stuff as well in here. But I mean, it's just it's a nonsensical argument, and that's the point, really. Like it doesn't make any sense. Everybody knows it doesn't make any sense. But of course, she's the first black woman ever to be on the court, so we have to, I don't know, praise that, I guess. I have no idea. Like, this is just nonsense stuff. Complete nonsense stuff.
Well, I mean, listen, is what she's saying is that she's the first black disabled woman to sit on the Supreme Court? Because, I mean, that's something. Is that what she's saying?
That's it. She's the first black disabled. She's proof that black people are disabled. That's why she's on the court. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, it's just amazing stuff.
So stunning and brave. So stunning and brave.
So much stunning.
You can't cheat the audience. You got to play the theater kid full stop Jackie clip.
Yeah, I will. Hold on a second here. Let me pull that up. Actually, that'll be the first thing I play before I go over to play some of Clarence Thomas's statements here, because this is beautiful. So let me make sure I get this out here. And I think the best part about this was the fact that didn't she come out afterwards? And I'm pretty sure she came out after this, and she was like, "I've always wanted to be on Broadway." Like, aren't you on the Supreme Court, lady? Like, what the hell? Anyway, here you go, guys, just so you can watch this.
Female empowerment. Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like, I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
Got this feeling in my body.
Can't stop the feeling.
Got this feeling in my body.
I can't stop the feeling.
Wanna see you move your body.
I did it. I made it to Broadway.
Come on.
A Supreme Court justice, everybody. She made it to Broadway. Congratulations, full stop, Jackie. I mean, oh my God. Oh my God. We have, imagine if, can you guys just picture this for just a minute here? Before we move on to actually talking about like the real decisions that were talked about from this and be serious for a moment, can you just imagine for a moment what would have happened if Kamala Harris had won the election? Those people just like full stop Jackie there, would be running the entire government. The entire government. I mean, they sort of were underneath Joe Biden. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. They sort of were before, but can you imagine how much worse it would have been if Kamala had won? Like, oh my goodness, man. It would have been a new level of hell that we could never experience ever. It's just amazing to me. Like, it's just, oh my goodness, man. Would have been something else. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But fortunately, there are smart people on the court, and we've got a bunch of stuff from Clarence Thomas that was actually worth playing. Let me see if I can go back and pull some of those clips real quick. While we're doing that, though, guys, make sure you guys share this space out. This is the Political Theater, weeknights at 9. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you guys subscribe to both myself and Trash, and you can do that by going to our Substacks. WCDispatch.com always has this show live every night at 9 p.m. when we do this show, so make sure you guys are checking out WCDispatch.com, and you get notifications when we're about to go live. So this show will be continuing on all the other platforms now. It'll be a continuing. We're going to continue to set this up and build this out a little bit more. The uploaded versions of this do go to Spotify and Apple. Spotify has the video version. Apple has the high-quality audio version. And we're improving every single day as we continue through this. And pretty soon here, actually, we're going to be setting it up for terrestrial radio. So we're going to start having cuts to commercial breaks. And during those, I think we'll probably just hang out with all of our loyal listeners on the space while those go on. So that'll be here in the near future, guys. So just a couple announcements for us to put that out there. But let me go see here and pull back some of the Clarence Thomas stuff.
And while you're looking at, just to remind you, I did send you the clip because Stephen A. Smith has actually answered that question of what it would look like if Kamala Harris was president. And he did not hold back. And again, Stephen A. Smith, I understand he's building a brand. I've made these comments before. I think he's better than Chris Cuomo, in my opinion. He's been consistent. And if Stephen A. Smith is saying things, if Bill Maher is saying things, I want people to hear it because I want to encourage that type of behavior. But I did send you a clip of Stephen A. Smith talking about what he thought Kamala Harris would look like should she had become president.
Yeah, I've got it here. I'll go ahead and play this while I'm pulling up the clip of Clarence Thomas.
Out of respect to Kamala Harris, let me tell you why she deserves an explanation as to why I don't think she could have gotten it done. Because leading into the election, what was the problem? It was extreme capitulation to the progressive left, who were finding reasons to side with, I don't want to say siding with Hamas. I certainly don't want to accuse them of that. But it just seemed like whatever they wanted, the left that wasn't far left was leaning more left. And so because of that, why should we believe that all of a sudden she'd get into office and she'd forget what she thought got her there? That's the only reason I'm saying that. Having said that, I'd like to get back to the person that asked.
There you go. So there's Stephen Smith on that.
He's correct.
Yes, he is. I mean, and people were talking about Stephen Smith yesterday as if we're like, he's just playing to get a conservative audience. Maybe he is. But to me, I don't really watch the guy in the first place. But if he has an audience that is kind of in the moderate wing, then at least he has rational things to say. You got to give him at least that. He's saying rational things that are not incorrect and not lies. So. As far as I'm concerned, the people that are not spouting gay communism, which is what the left is currently doing, most of these Democrat socialist people, if you're not spouting gay communism, then I like you. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. And we've talked about it a number of times. We don't need to go through it again. We do want an opposition party that's not gay communist. So anyway, here. So this is Clarence Thomas here on the court when he was talking about this. And this is his section of oral argument. So let's play this here for sure, because I do want to pay attention to this because he's pretty good on this, obviously.
What role did Robinson play in the development of SB 8?
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the only reason SB 8 exists. We fought tooth and nail in the Robinson litigation itself in telling the courts that we did not think the Constitution permitted us to draw a second majority black district. As you know, under protest, we drew SB 8 because the threat was that the federal courts were going to do it if we didn't. And I think that's the best way to conceive of why SB 8 exists. We would never pass SB 8 in the first instance without Robinson, Justice Thomas.
What were the findings in Robinson?
The finding by the Middle District in Robinson was that the plaintiffs in this case were likely to show a violation of Section 2, and the likely violation, and I'm using very broad terminology because I do not know what the underlying violation is. I can't articulate that for you, Justice Thomas, because I don't think anybody can. But I think the finding in the district court's mind in that case was that the likelihood of a Section 2 violation meant that a majority black district was required, a second one. And I think that was the bottom line, and when our legislature saw that, we understood the marching order, and that's why you see SB 8 as it exists today.
Just briefly, what were the findings that led to that conclusion?
Well, Your Honor, running through the preconditions and the totality of the circumstances, I think the totality of the circumstances did most of the work for the Middle District in Robinson. Senate Factor 1, the official history of past discrimination, Justice Thomas, we can never outrun the bad era of poll taxes, of grandfather clauses, of literacy tests. I think we're always going to lose across the board on that kind of analysis, and that's what the Middle District in Robinson focused on, is how bad was Louisiana in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and, add all that together, and at the end you have a vote dilution finding that I don't think is clearly articulable in the way that SFFA requires a finding of discrimination to be specified.
So most of that was go ahead.
I was going to say, there's so much to unpack here. This is why I love listening to Supreme Court litigation. Regardless of how I feel about the typically the plaintiff's position on representing reprehensible type policy or whatever it may be, I still love listening to it. And the reason I love listening to it is because I like the distillation of an argument. And there's a lot to unpack there. And really, I mean, like law nerds or, lawyers or high level, SCOTUS and everybody else are the ones to unpack it, right? Because they constantly reference case law, because you have to reference case law to make your arguments at the Supreme Court, right? And that's why they talk about Robinson. That's why they talk about all these different cases. But to unpack here what this is, there's actually a lot in what he just said. And I think that we would do well to kind of unpack this a little bit, Walt.
Yeah, it's necessary because the deal is that it was an intentional finding. They did this and they were going to force them to redraw the map. So they did it anyway, even though they didn't think it was constitutional. They didn't think that it actually had any merit to it. That's the whole purpose of it. So this is and for those who don't know what this is talking about, this is the racial gerrymandering districts. And this is something that if it is overturned, by the way, this is why the left is going to freak out about this, because if it is overturned, I think the last numbers I looked at, it looks like they're going to lose 20 seats. Is that right? I think my numbers are right on that.
It looks like a floor. It looks like a floor of 12, 12 to 16. 20 is definitely on the high end. I mean, it depends on what happens within Illinois. We all know what that streak in Illinois looks like. We know what Louisiana looks like. We know what Missouri looks like from St. Louis into Illinois and that entire streak. We know what those look like. We know what those districts look like. And they created two districts out of one to create racial districts. And the argument that they made, and I probably have that clip, but the argument that they made was, at the time, even white Democrats would never vote for a black candidate. And
That's
that
right.
was essentially the argument that they made. And I was like, well, that's a hell of an admission.
Yeah, seriously. That's what I thought when I heard that. I was like, whoa, that's that not exactly the greatest defense from because the left wing people that were talking about this, they also the defense of this was not a very strong argument, I would say, and I know I have that one somewhere around here.
Yeah, I've got it too. I'll see if I can find it. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I've got it in my bookmarks, because you know how I am about this stuff. I always keep every clip all the time of all the things. But it was fascinating. And so again, yeah, 20 is definitely on the high end. From what it looks like to me, it looks like 12 is the baseline. So like they're saying, oh my God, a 22 or 24-point swing. I'm like, yeah, it is, because it's minus 12 for Democrats and plus 12 for Republicans, but it's essentially a 12-seat pickup, which is, we're not even talking census here. We're not even talking census data in 2030 that's going to bear this out after the Great Migration after COVID policy. We are simply looking at right now under this NRA that simply this fake districting to give false representation in the aims of equity. And this was long before they used that terminology. In the aims of equity, because whatever Ketanji Brown, full stop Jackie argued that black people are disabled, that's why they can't vote as easily, or like the old trope from the Ivy Leagues that black people can't get ID, and obviously that's been crushed and demolished, and it's stupid. But all of that, all those falsehoods, they really kind of spin out of this entire core of this case. That's why it's so important. Because I think for once we can actually treat Americans like Americans. I don't have to have individual classes of people or identification of gender, or I don't have to have identification of even race at this point. Like, just go to work, be a good human, be a good family person, take care of your neighbors, pay your taxes, go home, do your job, and we'll fight for the rest.
That's right.
Because that's not what this is.
This is the by the way, this is the clip that you just mentioned a minute ago, talking about The fact that black Democrats didn't even, or the Democrats refused to vote for any black candidate in the South. So this is that clip, and this is only about 30 seconds here.
That was an argument made at SCOTUS, man.
Yes, at SCOTUS today.
That's right. And in the state of Louisiana, that analysis was conducted in the Nairn case, and it was clear that regardless of party, white Democrats were not voting for black candidates, whether they were Democrats or not. And we know that there is such a significant chasm between how black and white voters vote in Louisiana that there's no question that even if there is some correlation between race and party, that race is the driving factor.
Can you comment on the Solicitor General's suggestion?
So that's the statement that she made. They refuse to vote for any black candidate. I found that pretty funny. Of course, the left, what they'll do is they'll say, well, you forget that the parties swapped. You know, they switch all the time, and it's always in favor of the Democrats for some reason. All of their terrible positions are always swapped whenever they don't like them anymore. So I assume that means at some point in the near future that they'll claim that the Republicans were the ones in favor of the trans issue whenever they finally give that one up, which is it's going to be a while before they finally do. But maybe we'll get to live through that at some point in our lives. They'll try to convince us that during 2020, that this era here, that it was all the Republicans that liked the trans issue, which would be very hysterical to try and watch them play that one off. But yes, that was the argument that they made in the court today. So this is arguing in favor of it. So it's just, amazing stuff. Still, but even then, to me, what I don't understand about this is they're saying that, just because that was happening, that means that we need to make a whole law about how we have to have racial gerrymandered districts, which is unconstitutional in the first place. So that's it. To me, it's not much of an argument, I guess. I just don't understand it.
Well, I mean, I understand it. I mean, this is the white savior complex, and listen, there's some people that are genuinely just like white savior complex. Really, what it is just a matter of managing a base and not really giving anything and always pretending to fight for them. And this is like the ongoing political issues that you can always campaign on and rely on a certain percentage of vote to add them to boxes, whatever. That's really what this is. And when you go back to kind of the history of what this case is leading up to, I would remind people about after Kennedy was assassinated and Lyndon Johnson took over, and then ultimately the passage of the Civil Rights Act, and what Thomas Sowell has said about this, and many people who have come before me, who I stand on their shoulders because they are giants. They all talked about this, and it's interesting to me because everyone knew this. This is why, like the Southern strategy with Nixon and all that, was so controversial, and they still talk about it to this day. And then like all this narrative that came out over the last 30 plus years, how the Republicans and Democrats switched parties. It's never been the truth. The Republican Party was born specifically by Christians who wanted to abolish slavery. That's where it was born in Wisconsin. That's why it was formed to begin with. And so, like, it's never changed. It's never been changed. Now, listen, I hate the Republican Party. Okay, there's some solid GOPers out there, like at state level or local level offices that are like based as hell, and I love them to death, and they understand the assignment. But overall, the GOP's garbage. We know this. We're seeing what's going on with Virginia and everything else. The GOP's garbage. Okay, Republicans, for the most part, are nothing more than, if you flip the coin around, it's the same people, just with a D or an R next to their name. They're the same people. With that being said, the underlying movement and argument that America First presents, that MAGA presents, the big tent, quote unquote, I hate that, but I guess let's just use it, that we did to get Donald Trump elected in 2024, is specifically this argument. The same reason that I still talk about Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher, because I want to talk to those people who are reasonable, who just disagree with me on some things, but they fundamentally misunderstand what my motives are and where I'm coming from on policy prescription and what it means to be American, what I believe. This case goes back. I mean, this goes back into Jim Crow era. This stuff goes back into the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and into the 60s with the Civil Rights Act and everything that followed, and then the rise of third wave feminism and all the stuff that we deal with. That's why it's so shocking to me. Yeah, we can make fun of Full Stop Jackie being a sitting Supreme Court justice talking about black people are disabled. There's no other correlation that I can make in the argument that she tried to make. And we can laugh at that. But that's genuinely like at the center of what this poison is that the Democrat Party has represented. And now they're running scared. And we'll talk about Chuckles and Schumer and all these people later when we get into kind of why the Dems are clowns right now and the shutdown and all that. But before we get there, this is at the center of what they're trying to battle with and deal with. This argument is being won at the Supreme Court. Thankfully, it's probably going to come out 5-4. To your point, I want to see the dissents, and I definitely want to see the opinions, because I have a feeling that Full Stop Jackie's going to get roasted in one of the opinions, most likely, probably by Thomas. And so this is at the heart, in my opinion, of where we move forward as a country in race relations and what it means to say we need equity. This was equity before equity was a tagline, Walt. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good way to describe it, actually. It is definitely equity before. I mean, it's the same concept, and it's actually where a lot of this stuff came from in the first place. I mean, that's a lot of where the DEI stuff came from, where you have these quotas and this whole concept where you need to make sure everything's, just because things weren't fair then, that means you need to make sure everything's completely unfair now. I mean, that's the whole original idea of the affirmative action, all this stuff. So I think a lot of the stuff, I think it is going to get overturned. I think we are going to see it get completely overturned. So that's good news. I mean, I think that's great things. That's fantastic news, to be honest with you. And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Of course, the Democrats have built their entire power structure based on this, so it's not good for them. But I'm here. I'm here for that. So that's good to me. I'm a huge fan of that. So to me, I don't really care that they're going to be upset about this. So. Good.
Well, I mean, Walt, let's put in perspective. Let's banter on this a little bit. Let's put in perspective. What happened with Act Blue? Most of the board resigned, right? So you don't have the injection of foreign capital into small donor smurfing that we've seen through Act Blue for some time. USAID, both doing operations on domestically and foreign. As we know, USAID was essentially responsible for the dirty work that many of our intelligence agencies didn't want to do. That money also was being funneled back. We're seeing Sam Bankman-Fried make the news again. All of a sudden, he did an interview with, I believe, Amuse, the guy with the stormtrooper mask. He's got an account, Amuse. He did an interview with him, and he's talking about he hates the Democrats more than the Republicans now for what they did to him. They did him dirty. So he's waking up. I brought that up a few days ago. All of the power center has been rotted away, and the last of it resided in this NRA, in this fake districting, running Democrat veins through blood red counties of a seemingly red state and calling it purple or mixed or undecided or independent or moderate as a state because you gerrymandered the shit out of districts to create additional districts for representation that was solely based on only for Black Americans, not for all Americans, only Black Americans, not only for any Missourian, for those specific Missourians, not only for any Illini, any Illinois citizen, for specific Illinois citizen that connects all the way down to St. Louis. In Louisiana, which was blue for a long time, deep Democrat for a long time, and it took Jeff Landry, who was a former AG, I talk about this all the time, who worked with Eric Schmidt, who is now a senator out of Missouri, on the Missouri v. Biden case, and they flipped Louisiana red for the first time in decades. Okay, and then so now these same states that had the same representative districts and the same representatives like AG Schmidt, who's now a senator, AG Landry, who's now the governor of Louisiana. These people they've been operating at a 12, 16 to 20 point cushion every election cycle, with ballot harvesting, with unconstitutional rules being changed in swing states, with absolute endless funding, not only coming from overseas like the Pierre Omidyar or George Soros or Arabella Investments, but then also domestically through our own federal government, through our taxpayer dollars, which we've been exposing for years. Now that all of those machines are breaking, the last thing that they had to hold on to, because they tried to pass the Brown Voting Act, which was absolute garbage, and we fought that and defeated that, and it'll never see the light of day. But what they tried to do was federalize our elections completely, and it would have done what they're arguing at SCOTUS on turbocharge, because the federal government would have been responsible for it over top of all 50 states. We cannot have this. We cannot allow it to happen. It cannot happen, and that's why, in my opinion, this is again another one of the notable cases that have been brought for the SCOTUS. Missouri v. Biden, which is Murphy v. Missouri, the censorship case. The second one coming out of the Louisiana Health Freedom Group. They're bringing it up against the NGOs like Stanford Internet Observatory and all these people. They're bringing that in front of SCOTUS eventually. We've got Chevron deference, which was really important. We've had the Alien Enemies Act been litigated at SCOTUS, which is really important. The fact that SCOTUS has ruled that the federal government, the executive branch, has absolutely plenary power to fire hire and fire federal workers as they see fit, and there's no state governor a la Abigail Spanberger that's going to make a change on that. We're seeing all of this. This is the last deep, unspoken thought of power center for Democrats, and they're going to have to retool because I think this is good. They're going to lose this one.
I absolutely think they're about to lose it. I think they're about to lose badly. And good, to be honest with you, because you have the problem with this structure is that it has created something that is just a huge problem, which is it has allowed people that think that they're smart to get into positions of power where they should have never been in the first place. And this is a perfect way to bring up this clip here because this is Kamala Harris today. And I just want you to, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let you listen to it.
That is
And-
a decent.
but-
that is
but-
a decent resume. But go ahead.
But there, well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like I like the some people say. Very nice. But go ahead.
So, the most qualified person to ever run for president, Kamala Harris, 2025. I mean, do you hear these people? These people really believe that they're brilliant. She has been told by everyone around her for her whole life that she is super smart, that she is brilliant, that everything about her is just fantastic, and she has never done anything wrong ever. That's what she believes. She actually believes that stuff. And that she's the most qualified candidate to ever run for president. I don't know. Something about that doesn't sit right with me. I don't think that you did anything that deserves running for president. I mean, you were selected. You didn't even win a primary at all. You didn't win a single primary. You didn't even win any votes in a primary. And then you were installed by your party after your boss died on the debate stage. And that's how you became a presidential candidate. But in what way does that make you qualified? I think to even consider yourself even remotely qualified for a position, especially a presidential position, you have to get votes to prove that you are possible to do that, like that you can actually get votes to have that happen. I don't think you just get to shoe yourself in there. Say, I was the most qualified to ever run. Like, were you? You never won a primary. You didn't win any votes. In fact, you were the first person to drop out during the primary when you did run for president. So what are we doing here? Like, I mean, and this is the problem. You've got a structure that has created a system where it is easier for you to win, and thereby you think you're brilliant. And that's, you can believe it all you want, but unfortunately, reality eventually hits you in the face, which is what happened to Kamala when she lost. Reality hit her in the face, and now she's been drinking for, the entire time Trump's been in office. She's just been hammered drunk, and we've been playing those clips a lot here recently for how drunk she's been. But this is the problem, though. It's all the same issue where you actually believe because of your structure and the systems that have been set up to make it so, especially in California where it's a one-party state and nothing ever gets challenged and whoever the Democrat is wins, that structure creates bad candidates that think that they're good candidates, that actually believe that they are brilliant, super smart, intelligent people when they're just not. And I think we're moving away from that now, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you get the Katie Porters of the world. I think that we should close this SCOTUS conversation segment with the Principal Solicitor General Hashim Mupan. His argument that he made when Justice Sotomayor, and we know how she goes, dared to step up to this. You got it?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up right here. I was just getting
it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, this is great.
You could control for partisan effect. There was racially polarized voting even within the Democratic Party. That's where Section 2 matters, where you have a reason to think that a racial group is being treated.
Here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no.
You have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles. You could control for.
So there it is. And it's just absolutely decimating it. And they they can't make the argument because they know it's a losing argument. So I don't think they have any chance here To be honest with you, I saw some of Kagan's stuff on this, and she was actually like, this sounds like this doesn't sound like this is this sounds like this is actual idea segregation. So like, I mean, it doesn't sound like this is actually constitutional. So I think they're actually probably going to get a 5-3 decision on this. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think 5-4 comes.
Yeah.
I wish it was more. I wish it was a 9-0 because I feel like it's slam dunk. But I'll take a 5-4 because that's the battle, not the war, I suppose.
Yep.
But this entire equity takeover has existed for years, right? We talk about this with the trans stuff when we go back to like the Frankfurt School, and we go back to like all this stuff, and we go back to the Civil Rights Act and people like Thomas Sowell, which, by the way, Thomas Sowell should be getting a Medal of Freedom, by the way, also by the president. I don't know why he's not yet. He's probably one of my favorites. It's so weird. Guy comes out of a internship out of the Department of Labor, looked at data and said, holy shit, everything I've known is a lie. Okay, well, here's the data. Here's what I got. That's who Thomas Sowell is. And that was young in his career. We're talking back in like the 70s, right? And this whole argument about this, it's crazy. And I think what you just heard from the the deputy Solicitor General. By the way, shout out to the Solicitor General. He is amazing. Dean John Sauer, he's unbelievable. Dean John Sauer is unbelievable. But like, these are the arguments that are being crafted, and I think this is actually I think that the reasons Democrats are only tacitly touching this topic is because it's way more impactful on our politics moving forward than I think even they're willing to admit. Because if they admit it, that it's that big, then they have to admit that they do actually have a racism problem in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem that they can't seem to get away from. The Democrats have this problem. They've had this problem, but they've somehow convinced everybody, or I don't know. They never convinced me. I've always thought that the idea that black people need to be given special privileges because they just need it. What do you mean? There's a great video I should play. There's a great video of these guys, and this, you guys probably may remember, it was reasonably viral when it went out. And this is probably 2015, 2016. I mean, there's a couple of guys that they walked around on college campuses and asked Democrats and asked young voters, or just young college students, why do you not like voter ID? And they gave the most ridiculous answers ever. It's like, well, black people just can't get IDs. It's not possible for them. They really struggle with it. Like, it's super hard. We understand that it's very difficult for them to be able to do things, in their poor and, helpless communities. This is what they think. And they don't understand how that's a racist concept. They don't understand that that is a problem. It's the same argument when you hear them talk about illegal immigrants and whatnot, where they actually say stuff along the lines of, well, what about my strawberries? Well, who's going to pick them? I need my strawberries picked, and who's gonna mop my floors? And and there was even some woman up in Vermont, I think it was, that she was like, we're not going to be able to wipe our own ass. I mean, just this is what they believe. They just don't see it. They don't see how it's a problem. They don't understand how it's a pretty racist concept to believe that stuff. But this is what they believe. They absolutely believe this stuff. The best part about that video that I was just talking about, though, is that those same guys, after they talk to these college students, they then go to Harlem and ask those questions and show them clips of these people saying that. And all of the people that are in Harlem are like, what the hell? Like, I've had a license my entire life. I'm an adult in America. Of course I have a license. Like, what are you talking about? It's the most insulting thing ever. It's like, yeah, well, that's what the activist and the radical left and anybody on the left, when they talk about voter ID and stuff like that, it's the same concept. They don't believe, well, it's so difficult. We've got to help them. It's so difficult to be black in America. We have to make sure that we change all of the rules because they're just helpless and they can't do anything on their own. It's very insulting, to be honest with you. It's been insulting the whole time. And it's soft racism is all it really is. It's the term? The low expectations, right? It's the soft bigotry of low expectations. That's the phrase.
All right, so I did track down the video because I referenced it earlier when I was talking about this, when we got into this, and then you brought it up now. I did send it to you. You got it. You should play it. I have it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is it. So I'll put this up on the screen so people can watch this, because this is exactly the point.
They're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem.
So there's the video there, and he goes into East Harlem and asks the questions, which is just hysterical to watch the response.
Yeah, because they're like, yeah, it's down the street around the corner. You just go there.
There's some of the people that are like, what are you talking about? Like, how many people go to the Social Security office, do anything? Do literally anything in the United States? The whole concept. But this is the point, though. It's the soft bigotry of low expectation stuff. And apparently it goes as far as the current sitting member of the Supreme Court. She believes that black minority voters in America are disabled. She actually thinks that. So, man, I can't wait till we read her dissent, dude. It's just going to be glorious. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be really great. I hope she adds full stop to this dissent as well. Let's keep with the theme. Give me another full stop. Give me another full stop.
I need another full stop from Full Stop Jackie. I need it. It needs to be injected into my veins. We need to have that. So we can move on here from that story, though, because there is some other stuff to talk about. The people on The View have some stuff to say about why Republicans won't join their show. We've also got J.D. Vance when he went on. We can cover this briefly here because we went about this last night, but this is his response to the Politico story. For those who saw, he had a tweet yesterday that actually went over this pretty in depth. Or not in depth. He just responded to it quickly. But this is a in-depth response. It's only a minute or so. So let's go ahead and go over this real quick, just because I agree. Generally, I've actually seen, this is an encouraging bit for me, is that on the right, I've seen majority of the people that have said the same sort of thing. What are you talking about? This isn't something that we need to focus on. We don't need to talk about it. This is a bunch of people that nobody knows. They're not in positions of power. They're not running for office. There's no comparison between this and the Jay Jones stuff, which is the correct response. The only thing I will add is that I've seen a bunch of people arguing about this. And here's the one thing I will say about this is you're already playing into the left when you even have the argument. Okay, so if you want to go out there and yell at people oh my God, this is the worst. Look at Republicans. They're attacking each other, or they shouldn't be attacking each other. They should stand behind each other. They should do this. They should do that. You've already lost if you're doing that, okay? Which is why yesterday we had the response to it is no one cares. Who cares? This is retarded. This is a dumb story. This is not something for us to focus on. The Democrats don't have any standards. You think they actually care about this? No, they don't. This doesn't matter to them. This is not important to them in any way. But, of course, the right has to have this infighting where people are, oh my goodness, the end of the world. But this is J.D. Vance's response to this.
By focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. That's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. We live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
So that's J.D. Vance talking about this, and that's the correct message, really. But there's another aspect, too, that I think that is important to talk about on this, is that the other side of this, so the people that are all up in arms about this, oh, my goodness, the end of days, that this is political, that there's a bunch of young Republicans out there talking about this in group chats. Here's one thing I do want to bring up, and J.D. Vance touched on it briefly there. He's talking about the fact that these are young guys telling jokes and whatnot. Why is the left surprised in any way about this? Like, you have spent the past decade completely abolishing the entire meaning behind words. Okay, you have removed all meaning from them. You have called every person just slightly to the right of center a absolute literal fascist, and the next thing is Hitler. Trump is Hitler. Vance is Hitler. We're all fascist. We're all the worst people ever. None of us are any of those things, but you said it for so long. Why are you surprised when a group of young people find it stupid and they make fun of those words now? You've removed the meaning from them. The words don't have any meaning anymore. They're not some horrible thing anymore because you've said it about everybody for the past 10 years. These people, imagine this. So these college students right now, or maybe just out of college, in their early 20s. So that means when Trump came onto the scene, these people were 12 years old. Okay? So from the time they were 12 till now, you have literally said every single day Trump is a Nazi and a Hitler and fascist, and everybody who supports him is also a fascist. And if you don't support Antifa, the terrorist organization, you're actually a pro-fascist. I mean, this stuff, you have removed all meaning from it. So why are you surprised? Why are you surprised if someone starts a joke about it in a group chat with a bunch of their stupid friends and they say stupid, horrible things? Because you have taken every aspect of meaning. Important words shouldn't be degraded, but you did it anyway. So now you have this scenario where people make jokes about about horrible stuff. It didn't a few years ago, probably 15 years ago, this sort of stuff probably wouldn't have been in group chats. People probably wouldn't have been laughing about the idea of Hitler or the Holocaust or anything like that. But then if you spend 10 years telling anybody that if they're even remotely conservative, that they are actually Hitler, and they just look at you like you're ridiculous, but you keep saying it for 10 years, maybe you remove the meaning of that to the point that people will laugh and joke about it on a regular basis now. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I don't think it is a good thing. I think it's probably a really bad thing, and to be honest with you, because I think words have lots of, words do matter, okay? Words are important. But if you remove the meaning from them, what do you expect? What do you expect from this? I mean, you can't be surprised when young people take your ridiculous messaging and flip it and make fun of it, okay? You're never going to stop that from happening. That's just reality. So, I'm not surprised by this at all. And especially after going through and looking through actually reading through some of this stuff, you can tell most of this stuff is out of context, or they're saying it as a direct joke and whatnot. But again, who cares? The point is, who cares? Because the left doesn't care about this at all. They just think they are desperate. The only thing they care about is trying to get attention away from the J. Jones story. That is the only thing that they care about. I mean, in fact, even earlier today, this was one of the funniest cell phones of the day. The Democrat Party in Virginia immediately called on Winsome Sears to denounce this people and to make sure that they're removed, and they say that they must step down from their positions. And Winsome was like, okay, you should step down from your positions. You said dumb stuff. Next, okay, how about you actually talk about J. Jones now, since you want us to denounce text messages? Like, it's the greatest cell phone ever. Like, what are you doing? Like, no one out here is saying, oh, this is a great thing that they did this. I haven't heard a single person come out here and say, yeah, that was great that they did that. Like, that's a good thing. I'm a big fan of that. Like, I mean, that's not what happened. Okay. That's not what happened at all. All that happened was, and I'll put this up on the screen here for people to see this. So, this is from the Democrat Party of Virginia. They're saying Sears must call on all young Republicans implicated in racist text scandal to step down from their positions. And she was like, okay, easy. They absolutely must step down. Now it's your turn, Abigail. Like, I mean, just what an easy and stupid cell phone. The article I wrote this morning, and I published this earlier today, was titled, okay, so now you want to talk about text messages? Let's talk about them. We're happy to talk about the text messages. You can talk about your text messages from a bunch of no-name people that aren't important and don't have serious positions. And we can talk about the one that's talking about killing our children that's running for attorney general. Like it's a self-own that is amazing to me that they even brought it up in the first place. If they were smart, they wouldn't talk about text messages at all. They would mute it. They would never bring it up ever again. They wouldn't have even run this story. But of course, Politico runs this thing, and now all the left is thinking that they've got some sort of spin. It's not a spin. No one cares. Okay, you're not going to convince people to care about about this story at all. And JD Vance is right here. We're not going to let this also ruin the lives of people just because you got a hold of their text chain. And in fact, from what I read about it yesterday, it looks to me like they blackmailed one of the people in that and said they were going to ruin his life and career unless he leaked the text messages. So you did something intentionally to go after these people to the point that you were blackmailing them from losing their career and position in life. So that's what your goal was. What nice people you are. So you think that you somehow have any moral high ground here. You do not. You don't. We don't care. Okay? If you had denounced everything about this Jay Jones guy, maybe you would have had some leg to stand on. But it was like less than a week ago. It was like a week ago that you guys didn't denounce this. So we don't care. Okay, so good luck with trying to spin this in any direction because it's just not working and no one cares. Okay? You're not going to get it through to anybody.
No, and it's going to fall flat. It's falling flat. It's falling flat now. Matter of fact, I would argue, it's kind of crazy because, basically it's forced the cycle or people in response to this from the left to bring out Jay Jones's text even more to the point where it's actually being talked about on left-wing rag legacy media because they're like, well, I mean, you're denouncing this, but do you denounce this? Because this guy is running for top cop in Virginia. Do you denounce this? And I watched and I was like, these guys have actually Streisand effect Jay Jones and Virginia race to an extent where it's irrecoverable, in my opinion. I think the governor race is very close. It's very tight. I'm seeing all the markers of the Youngkin race, but the AG race, and go look at Kalshi as an example. Go looking at the betting markets. It's not good, and it's only increasing the more they're talking about a bunch of people that were on a group chat. Which, by the way, watch the group chats you're in because people do say some crazy shit. But they were just saying it in a group chat. It wasn't like an official position. It wasn't like a policy paper that was rolled out officially by Republicans, as an example. Listen, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. That's not what happened. Although a person running for top cop in the state, specifically Attorney General, did mean these things and actually went into great detail of what he meant by those things. And so now you're Streisanding effect, essentially something that should have been tried to keep a lid on. I would love to be a fly on the wall for Abigail Spanberger's campaign or anybody else running in Virginia, running against Reed or whatever, and listening to them just absolutely melt down at the the Katie Porter. What is it? Well,
I'm 90% sure that it's Porker. We've established
Porker.
that it is definitely
Yeah.
Porker. And now someone said Porter to me the other day, and I don't believe that at all. I think they're
No.
liars. It is
It's
Porker.
misinformation.
It is misinformation. Malinformation, in fact. Mal,
if you will. Information that's true, but we just don't want to believe it.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, it's malinformation.
That's right.
By the way, Katie Porter, she's not stopping.
Yeah. I have. I actually have another. I have the next clip from her. Do you have from Wall Street Mav earlier here, dude? This is just great.
Yep, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love this. So this is more. We've got this. This woman is endless content for us. I hope she never goes away. I hope she sticks around. I want her to stick around. I'm a fan. I like Katie Porker. But I really do like her. I want her to stay. I hope she appears on a regular basis. And so here's today's version of Porker on Pod Save America.
And so people were like, we gotta think every decision has to be made in tension with Trump. Soon Trump will lose or go to prison or I don't know, have a heart attack. I'm not sure.
We call it the hamburger.
I don't know
from
what his
heaven.
demise is
Hamburger
going
from
to be,
heaven.
but he'll have his demise. And the question will still be there. Who are we as Democrats?
Definitely not you, lady.
Yeah. Well, I hope that they're all just like you, Porker. Please all be just like that. I mean, this is the greatest person ever. Porker. I'm a huge fan. I love her. I hope she sticks around. I hope we get a clip of Porker a day, keeps the Democrats away. Anyway, Guys, this is the Political Theater, weeknights at 9. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. If you guys are listening to us on any of the other platforms we're now streaming on, by the way, it looks to me like the Rumble stream failed or something, and then now it started working again. So if you're listening to us on Rumble and you missed the first part of the show because I don't know what exactly happened, I was looking at it and it said there was a live stream from 4 hours ago that was still running, so it must have been the test thing that I did. I never stopped it, so I'm still getting used to some of this stuff, guys. But if you're listening to us on Substack, X Live, YouTube, or anywhere else that you guys are checking us out, make sure you go to WCDispatch.com. This show is every night or weeknights at 9. So we're going to continue on here. By the way, if you have a comment, you can always say something in the chats. We do read all of the comments and try to get them as many of them into the show as we can. If you're listening on the live streams, we can actually show them. We can actually show them on the screen. If you're listening in the Substack chat, I have to read them myself. But that's okay. I do check all these chats, and we do read the ones on the space. And if you want to join the show later for the evening part of the last hour of the show, we open it up and people can join. You can join us on X at Trash Discourse, and the Political Theater primary account is on here as well. Anyway, so we'll continue on here because I want to get into some stuff here. Since we're covering a bit of legal stuff today, did you see the Jack Smith stuff from earlier, Trash?
Oh, I've even got the clip. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I've got this clip here pulled up already. Because I saved this one because Jack Smith, for those who are fans of the show and have listened to us before, Jack Smith is a personal favorite of mine because he is a sleazy, slimy little scumbag that I've always despised. And he is one of the unique people in history that is so uncredible when it comes to legal tenure that he was given a 9-0 decision by Justice Roberts. And Justice Roberts actually said, in his opinion, your interpretation of the law is bad. Like, you have a very poor interpretation of the law, essentially, is what he's much more elegant and more legalese, but he essentially slapped him down with a 9-0 decision, saying that if this was the case, you could have charged 19 million people with random crimes whenever you wanted. I mean, it's a pretty brutal decision. This is 2016, so, by the way, this is before he ever went after Trump or anything like that. And they dragged him up here and they threw him into this. So, go ahead.
And in this clip, I want to set this up a little bit because he's sitting with Andrew Weissman. Andrew Weissman,
Yep.
Obviously, one of the guys, part of the Russiagate hoax, whatever. And MSNBC being at the center of being the actual Russiagate hoax, proliferators, right? And he's sitting with Andrew Weissman, and it's him and Weissman together. And I swear to God, it's like cinema. We live in a simulation sometimes. I swear, it's crazy to me that of all the people that MSNBC would prop up to have this Jack Smith interview, I don't know, sitting at a random table inside some kind of sound studio in some kind of think tank inside DC, doing this interview, and being propped up by MSNBC, that you would have Andrew Weissman delivering this interview. It's crazy, Walt. Like, it's offensive to me.
It is bad. So we'll listen to what they have to say here, and then I can rant more about how much Jack Smith is a scumbag afterwards.
And Rob Hur came to very different conclusions. How is that fair? Shouldn't they all have been treated the same? How do you justify the case in Florida when the same criminal case was not brought with respect to either a Democrat or a Republican?
Yeah, so I think this is actually a great example to talk about the rule of law and enforcing the law equally. And just as a sort of background, that case, the Biden case you're talking about, I didn't have any role investigating that. Another prosecutor, another career prosecutor, a guy by the name of Robert Hur, who had actually been the U.S. attorney in Maryland under the first Trump administration, took on that matter. And he, like I, issued a report in his case about his findings, and he found in his case that it was not warranted to go forward in that case. And the difference, and this is what matters, is both cases involve classified documents, and one was in Mar-a-Lago, which was a social club, and also his home, and the other one was largely in Biden's home, also I think an office that he worked at. The difference is the facts. The rule of law allows for different outcomes when the facts are different. One of the major differences between the two cases is the obstructive conduct in the case that I investigated. And that's important for a couple of different reasons. One reason is to prove illegal possession of classified documents, you need to show that you possess the documents, or the defendant possessed the documents willfully. And that means he knew what he was doing was wrong. and he knew he was possessing the documents. In my particular case, we had tons of evidence of willfulness. We had, and the obstructive evidence, publicly saying these are my documents or things like that, and I can keep them. The evidence to not give the documents back when the government even tried to get them back before there was a criminal investigation. Those sort of things, and then after the investigation started, still refusing to give them back, and then trying to obstruct the investigation. That helps prove willfulness. That sort of evidence didn't exist in the other case. And there are, I mean, I could probably keep you all here for a long time talking about the differences in terms of, you know, the numbers are not, I want to make sure I get this pretty close to right, but almost 4 times as many documents that the person I was investigating compared to the other case. The sensitivity of the documents. I think Special Counsel Hur said that the documents that he most likely could bring a prosecution on were over 15 years old and dealt exclusively with the conflict that had ended in Afghanistan. As we alleged in our indictment, the documents I was dealing with were much more sensitive and much more recent, and we laid out the sort of subject areas, those sensitive subject areas in the indictment. So there were a number of differences between the case, and that is what the rule of law wants, is to have situations where different factual outcomes, different levels of proof can result in different outcomes. And that's what I think happened here.
So there is Jack Smith giving his analysis on what he believes the rule of law is and what the reality of the case was. There was different facts involved. Listen to me. This guy, nothing about this guy has any credibility for interpreting the law, okay? He doesn't have any credibility, okay? This is, like I said before, a 9-0 Supreme Court decision saying he has a poor interpretation of the law has already been handed out before he even gets to this place. He already had that stain on his record. That's why they used him, because he already had the unique credibility. He had the unique stain on his record. This guy was just a political hitman. They brought him in specifically so that they could do this. And if those don't know, I actually wrote an article talking about when he opened this case against Trump, okay? I actually wrote this article. I think it's titled, it might be in my highlights tab still, I can't remember, but it was the clown trial of the century or something like that. And it's the circus trial of the century. Because the opening of the case, by the way, so this is how they opened the case. They opened the initial case against him with 16 million pages of discovery on day one. And they told him, well, and you've got 3 months, by the way. You have 3 months to set this up and get ready for this case. And Todd Blanche is actually the guy who was the attorney. He argued against him. He's like, this is the most absurd thing I've ever seen. Like, how are we supposed to form a defense in a timely way? Like, how on earth can we actually have any defense if this is what you're going to do? So, you know, this guy, having him trot out here and trying to give us his analysis, his great insight into why these things were different. They were different because you were operating on a political spectrum, going after Trump by any means necessary. That's what you were doing. We know that you were working with Alvin Bragg. We know that you were working with Fani Willis. We know that you were working with the Biden White House to bring all of this stuff forward. It's already come out. Okay, so Jack Smith is a clown. He is an absolute clown, and he was a clown from the beginning, and he was a political hitman. That's all he ever was. And I love that he's sitting here with Weissman, of all people, to come out here. And these people, the reason that you're seeing these people show up in public right now is because I think that they are scared that they are going to be indicted. And Jack Smith, of all these people, he should have his damn law license taken immediately. He should have had his law license taken forever ago, to be honest with you. He is not a fair arbiter of the law in any way. And Weissman is just right there with him. I mean, these people are scumbags. These are scumbags, and they got caught breaking the law. They never thought they would lose. And since they did lose, now they're trying to go on a PR campaign trying to claim that Trump is he's just on a war path against us. Oh, no. Like, yeah, I hope he is. You know, I hope he is. I hope every friggin' one of you guys goes to prison. That's what I hope. So you could come out here and trying to give us some sort of analysis and thinking that you're, you know, some upstanding legal attorney or whatnot, but you're not. You're not. You're a clown. You're a clown. You lost, and now you're going to face the consequences for it, and I hope it's soon.
Walt, will you send that to me? I'm going to have a space this weekend, and I want the extended clip because I have a shorter clip, and I want the extended clip of what you just played because I want to spend probably 2 or 3 hours dismantling all of it. I'm actually really angry listening to this.
Oh, yeah,
So
it's
to be clear,
obnoxious.
well, to be clear, he brought up Robert Hur. Robert Hur came out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland. Do you know who was who he was the successor for? Rod Rosenstein. Rod Rosenstein was the U.S. Attorney at a Maryland office before he went to DOJ Maine, and he was Rod Rosenstein, we know this specifically. You can go back and look at the Peter Strzok and Lisa Page stuff. You can go back and look at the Russiagate stuff. Rod Rosenstein at DOJ Maine was the central casting character of a U.S. attorney out of the Maryland District Attorney's Office for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the United States. And he went to DOJ Maine. Robert Hur was the guy that worked underneath him. Robert Hur was also the guy that went and investigated the ghostwriter for Joe Biden's book and the sharing of classified information by Joe Biden by being a retired vice president, not a president with plenary powers, but a vice president, not able to obtain classified documents, not able to hold them at various different residences. And Jack Smith even brought up the UPenn Biden Center, of which Michael Carpenter and Tony Blinken and Joe Biden were a part of. And they were using these classified documents to sell secrets to foreign adversarial governments, including China, including people who BlackRock basically doubled down and bet on to say, well, American energy policy is going to be X, Y, and Z if Joe Biden gets back into office. We shouldn't be looking at these documents. And his son went through Rosemont Seneca, went back in with an email and said, here's a 22 bullet point plan of how myself and Devin Archer can actually get board seats on the board of Burisma, the energy company that's in competition with Gazprom, the Russian energy suppliers, through Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 into Europe. And we can guarantee IMF guarantees and loan guarantees through the UK and many other European countries that we can then supply energy to. And that's why I belong making $55,000 a month on this board of Burisma. And by the way, I'm going to set up a meeting and a phone call in the Biden and the Obama White House while Biden is still vice president running point on Ukraine. And I'm going to say, this is the deal that we need to make. And I'm going to use my father's last name. How do I know this? Well, look at Blue Star Strategies. Look at Andrei Telizhenko. Look at Sally Painter. Look at all the former Hillary people that were setting up this entire grift that were designed to be bagmen masquerading as PR companies that were essentially taking money from the leader of Burisma to these various different organizations through Blue Star Strategies. And this is why Andrei Telizhenko is not even allowed in this country. You guys can go look at that, by the way. All of this revolves around this, and Jack Smith knows this. And this is why him and Andrew Wiseman bring up Robert Hur. They don't bring up Rod Rosenstein. And Rod Rosenstein was the U.S. attorney out of Maryland. And Robert Hur worked underneath Rod Rosenstein before he promoted to DOJ Maine to run this sham investigation. He was part of the Russiagate hoax to begin with, and he allowed it to go through. And even he's at the center of the Comey indictment, by the way, which I feel is weak. We can probably get more, and I'm sure there's going to be superseding indictments that come out of that. But at the end of the day, this whole mess is what Jack Smith is actually talking about. And I think it's poetic. It's a chef kiss that he's talking with Andrew Weissman on MSNBC about this very thing. So I want to have a space on this wall. I don't want to take up political theater on this, but I can spend another 4 or 5 hours on this and actually break down exactly what the hell he just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably necessary. It's probably necessary for us to do that. I mean, we'll see if we can set up a show for us to sit there and go through some of this stuff. And I can go back and pull some of the documents from the court cases, and we pull up the stuff for the Fannie Willis stuff. You know, we can go through all of it. And that's probably worthwhile. We'll do a weekend edition on that. That sounds like a good idea. I don't know if we'll be able to do it this weekend or not, but we'll do it soon. That way, it's not out of the news. But we'll see if we can set that up, because there's a lot more that we could go through, and we could probably sit here and talk about just that clip and why it's important and why they talked about it for a long time.
I could spend 10 hours on that clip.
Yeah, we could talk about that clip for the entire show. But in terms of what we're talking about today, we actually have another clip here that actually perfectly segues off of this, and this is Kash Patel. So Kash Patel today is talking about the deep state guys, and he's talking about what they're going to do to them, and they're going to go after them, and they're going to indict them. So here you go. Here's John Solomon talking about this today.
Beyond those who are already charged, do you think you've seen other crimes that might eventually get referred to justice?
Yes, we are looking at so many different leads on criminal activity by those who are in positions of power. And we're not going to stop until every single one of those is fully exposed. The documents are provided either to Congress or the courts of law, and make every referral we can to the Department of Justice. These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning. But I have to remind the audience one thing. Everybody's like, it's 7 months. What have you guys been doing?
Yeah.
Well, they spent 20 years building this disease temple of corruption. It takes a little bit of time to defeat it and beat it down. And I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to look at the work the men and women of the FBI have done so far in these 7-8 months and just imagine what we're going to do come the year end.
So that's the point that we've actually made before. We were talking about this, and I'll pull up. I've got one of my articles I wrote a while back was called the Lawfare Report, and it was talking about how much money that was actually spent going after Trump, and it was $500 million just in. And by the way, $500 million just in man hours. Okay, so just in man hours of them going after him. So, and the reason I bring this up is because what he just said there is exactly right. He said they've spent years building this thing. They spent years going after, like, setting up this corruption temple within the DOJ. They spent decades setting this stuff up, and it's going to be very difficult for them to take it down. And that's what my argument was, is like, look, you're not going to be able to undo. You're not going to be able to undo all of the things that they did to Trump, all of the things that they did to everyone around him, all the illegality that they did amongst that stuff. You're not going to be able to undo that in a couple months. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, but just getting movement on it is all that really matters. That's all you have to see. And that we actually have seen so far. We have already seen some serious movement on that stuff. So let me see if I can find this here, because I know I have it in somewhere in my highlights tab talking about the actual, the raw numbers of the lawfare, because it is an astronomical number. Let's see if I can find it real quick, and I'll pull it up and put it on the screen for people. It's an old post of mine from somewhere, so I'll see if I can find it. But that's the Cashatel's already making the point for me, though. It's that it's not gonna be something you can undo. But look how much they have already gotten done in just the 7-month period. That's what you should focus on. Now, I will say that President Trump today, and let me see if I can find this, because this was pretty good. President Trump today, you could see that he was pissed off, and he's talking about, like, all these people that want to talk about, oh my goodness, this horrible, horrible lawfare, and Trump is overstepping and blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't think that this is the case at all. And President Trump, this is a great clip of him today talking about this, because I agree with him so much in this clip that it was just like, yes, I voted for that, and this is exactly right.
I want to put my son in jail for something that they made up. So they know they made it up. And they say he will serve the rest of his life in prison. These are sick, bad people. And don't tell me about us going after them. If anything, we've been very, very soft. I wouldn't be that soft, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much, everybody.
So that was President Trump kind of, giving the riot act to these people, because, they did. They tried to ruin his life. Not only just his life, but his whole family's life. Everybody that was around him's life, anybody that was even tangentially associated with Trump, they tried to ruin their life. And this is what we said at the and I've been saying this constantly, is that, I just don't think Trump's going to be cool about this whole trying to throw him in prison, destroy his business, throw his sons in prison, and then try to shoot him thing. I don't think he's going to be cool about that. And I'll tell you right now, that attitude right there, that's what I voted for. That's what I voted for right there. I want that. Okay. I want retribution, not just for vindication for all of the people that have said that this stuff was obviously wrong and all that. No, I actually am on the side of President Trump getting retribution for what happened to him. Okay, what they did to him. They tried to destroy him, and they used every lever of federal government power that they could to do so. I mean, the amount of investigations that were opened against Trump were astronomical. There was counterintelligence operations. There was bank investigations. There was everything you could. They changed laws so that they could prosecute this guy. If anything, he is being nice about this. Because if I was in charge, I'll tell you right now, I would. Trump is a much better man than me. That's all I'll say. Because these people, I would be. I don't care. Go after them. I don't get just frog march them through the streets on day one and let them sit in court for 7 months. I don't care. Like that's the kind of reaction I would have. But Trump has been reasonably measured on this. And, that's, the people that are, he's going after his enemies. His enemies may deserve it. Did you ever think about that? That they may actually deserve what comes to them? because I think that. I think that they deserve it 100%. And I've actually publicly advocated that the people that opened the counterintelligence operation should be hung. They should be. Treason. You tried to subvert the will of the American people because you didn't like the guy that was going to be in charge. Hang him for treason. Okay? That's the way I look at it. But, I'm not in charge. And President Trump is obviously not acting on his full volition on this, because you can see his anger here. And he's even said to Bondi, he's like, hey, there needs to be some prosecutions. He's said that stuff, but he's not pushing the envelope yet because Trump is a much more measured person. I mean, the reality is he doesn't have any in the majority of the people on the hard right, or people like me that have been following this stuff forever, the people that really know the story, I wouldn't care what he did. I wouldn't. I'm sorry. It would not matter to me how far he went with it. I would still support him 100% because of how bad and how far they went to go after him. I would be okay with it. But, you have to sell it to the public. So I understand what the game that's being played here. But don't expect sympathy. You're not going to get any sympathy from anybody that knows what's really going on here. Not one bit.
No, not at all. Matter of fact, if I probably belong nowhere near levers of power at all, considering the fact that I do know exactly what went on. Exactly. Thanks to the leaks and the unredactions and everything else, I know a little bit more that I suspected and I have proof for. But at the end of the day, I do know what's going on. And if you really thought that the retribution was coming through Trump, you have no idea what's coming. I am genuinely pissed off. I've been pissed off for a very long time, and I've held my tongue, and I've bit my tongue, and I've been I've tried to soften the blow. But if you gave me that ability, I would take all these people down, and I would take them down to the point where they would never ever recover. But we don't live in that world. We don't live where random internet persons with their raccoon profiles get to actually do those things. So I can simply provide receipts and show you exactly what we're saying here. And I listen to people like Jack Smith talking to Andrew Weissman, two of the, oh God, I would just take them down. I still have to play this game, right? I still have to play this game of, well, they're going to try to soften it up because of politics and everything else. If I had my way, it would be a steamroll, and it would not be pretty for anybody else.
Yeah, and I put it up on the screen here. So this is a report I put out back in February. So this is the cost of lawfare. So this is the numbers that I went through. So I went through and tried to calculate exactly how many people were involved in the lawfare from the government against President Trump. Okay. So this is the numbers, the raw numbers that I got. Some may be a little bit off, but I mean, this is as close as I could get to it. Okay. So 863 government personnel were involved in this. So almost 1,000 people from within the DOJ were involved in the prosecutions. $511 million in taxpayer funds, and an estimated 5 million hours of government time from 2015 to 2025. Okay, that's the amount of lawfare that was being pushed onto Trump. Okay, and that's probably low numbers because you can't actually calculate. I don't know how many FBI officials. This is just DOJ. This is just prosecutions. Okay. That's what this number is here, the 511 million. Who knows how many FBI agents were involved? Who knows how many counterintelligence operations they opened? Didn't we find out just recently that it was 19? Didn't we find that out just a minute ago? That there was something like 19 for?
Yeah, it was 19 to 22. I think Arctic Frost and all the 11 that were named in the unredacted files. There was another 11 or 12 or 13. It was 22, 23. I mean, ultimately, it was even higher than that. I mean, it was 90 something, essentially, is what they said. I mean, this is kind of coming out under the Comey investigation.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing. It was Comey, the amount of investigations that Comey opened. That's the investigate. Let me see if I can find that, get the actual number on it, because the amount of investigations was astronomical. It was crazy to hear that. I was like, wow. But I guess it wasn't that surprising. I mean, we knew exactly what they were doing.
Well, I mean, to that point, we should probably play Kash Patel in the Oval Office. Here, let me send this to you. Oh, by the way, John Bolton, just real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on the mustache, but we expect him to be indicted, if not this week, next week. So John Bolton's mustache is having a problem. But no, Kash Patel actually broke this down. He was talking about the arrests, but I think the numbers are actually really important here. Let me send this to you. I think we should play this because what's going on right now is essentially like the undoing or like the uneffing of all the lawfare and everything that's gone on. Meanwhile, there are investigations and arrests happening. So for every arrest that you're seeing, and I think it's 28,000, which is like 10, 12,000 more than the status quo out of the FBI, are the investigations that are spinning up. So I think people are looking at the numbers here. I sent you the clip, Walt, on
Yeah,
your.
I just wanted to pull this up because it was Paul Sperry that was talking about it. So I'm sorry, I was off. It was not no fewer than 9 espionage related investigations on Trump and his advisors before he was even in office and elected to president in 2016, 2017. So that's just that's the espionage before he became president. So
Well, and
gives
that
you a
was
little
Norm
reference
Eisen,
there.
right?
Yeah.
That's Norm Eisen, right? He bragged about how he had, 10 articles of impeachment, and I thank you, my friend. And he was talking to Michael Cohen. That was the lawfare part. Norm Eisen, who is probably going down as well.
I hope
We'll
so,
see
man.
we'll see
If we get Mark Elias and Norm Eisen, that would be
yeah,
amazing.
especially Norm. Especially Norm.
Yeah, Alan, $500 million is insane, but you got to remember that it's more than that. Like this is a comment on one of the streams here. Alan saying $500 million is crazy, but you have to remember it's probably more than that. It's a lot more than that because you don't know. You can't calculate the people that were around the investigation. The only thing I went after was the actual prosecution numbers, like the actual numbers from the DOJ, the amount of time they spent on the cases going against Trump. Like it said that, Jack Smith's full office, the DOJ office in multiple different areas, how many people they had on it. And those are public numbers. So I managed to pull those from expense reports. So that's how I came up with $500 million. But we have no idea if there was like an entire wing at the NSA that was tasked to figuring out stuff about Trump. I guarantee you there was. What would you say that there wasn't? Is there anything out there? Like, is there anything that would lead you to believe that they weren't doing that? I think that's my point is here. Like, what exactly would give you the impression that if they were willing to go as far as they did, that they didn't do everything else? Like they didn't use every aspect of the government. They used every single regulatory body that they could to go after and open investigations. They used the entire DOJ. They had an army of attorneys, 1,000 attorneys going after Trump. So what makes you think they didn't have the intelligence agencies doing the same thing? Of course they did. Of course they did. They did everything. They didn't have any stops on what they were trying to do. And that's the point. I mean, so we don't even know. My guess, it was well over $1 billion. Doge, the lawfare. I like that idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, we should open up a Doge report on how much money taxpayers have spent on lawfare against innocent American citizens. That would be an astronomical number that I'm not sure the American people are even ready to know. But anyway, so let's play this. Let's play this Cash Patel clip here.
Well, before you do, I want to point out during these previous administrations and these DOJs was essentially you still had a third or plus of the budget and the manpower to go after political hot buttons as you saw fit. And this last DOJ under Biden, which I would say it really ramped up under Obama post, Patriot Act of, the fake Republicans, the George Bush Juniors, whatever, the W's, everybody else. When they spun up all these agencies and they were spying on American people, they spent at least a third, if not more, of their budget on doing that. It wasn't only until after Obama, when Trump won, when they had the meetings in the Obama White House, that they also had the Biden administration who weaponized the DOJ. So you get results based on the money you spend. And we've seen this with whistleblowers when they talked about culling the resources and bringing them back to DC and going after Catholics and pro-life groups and going after American patriots and the Tea Party and Lois Lerner and all the things that happened. That money was available. Now the money's been redirected within DOJ and the FBI to actually chasing down violent, criminals and felons and everything else. And so that's in my opinion, that's a definition of why you've seen a jump between 15,000 arrests versus 28,000. I wanted to cue that clip up because the point I'm trying to make is it seems to me it's no longer being weaponized. It's definitely not being weaponized against the left. I know it's not being weaponized against the right, what we dealt with the last 10 to 15 years. And yet there was a budget and a reallocation of resources and agents and money and everything else to actually take down these people. So when you look at these numbers, it's not just the numbers are being enforced, it's that the funding and the requisite funding and the requisite attention that the DOJ and the FBI is actually paying attention to have actually focused on actually taking down the wrong people, and they have the funding to do it versus going after Loudoun County school board parents, Catholics, and pro-life people.
Yeah, we've got
It's
some
really
stuff.
important.
Well, we've got some stuff to talk about on Virginia here in a minute, by the way. So let's play this clip from Kash Patel, and this was him in the Oval Office earlier today.
And thanks to your brave leadership and the mandate you were given by the American people to not only defend the homeland but crush violent crime, you tasked us with our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General to start making arrests and bring prosecutions and safeguard our cities. And you said it, this is just the beginning. In just 7 months, I hope the media takes a look at every one of these charts because these are the best numbers for fighting crime in U.S. history, and it's only 7 months in. And to do that, our vehicle to do it of choice was Operation Summer Heat, which the FBI architected to go after violent criminals. And in just a 3-month span, you had 8,700 arrests of violent criminals. You had 2,200 firearms seized off the streets permanently to safeguard our communities. You had 421 kilograms of fentanyl seized. Just to put that in perspective, that's enough to kill 55 million Americans alone. You had 45,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, and thanks to our Department of Justice partners, you had 2,100 indictments in 3 months, from June to September alone. Mr. President, that in and of itself would be historic for a 4-year presidency. You did that in 7 months because you let good cops be cops, and you partnered us with the right people at the Department of Justice to put the handcuffs on and bring them to court and put them in prison. And if that weren't enough, when you look at the year, for the entire 7-month period that we're talking about here, if you look at the past 4 years of the Biden administration, 16,000, 17,000, 15,000, 15,000. That's the number of arrests year over year of violent felons in this country for the Biden administration. Mr. President, in 7 months, you have 28,600 arrests of violent felons in just 7 months alone because of your leadership and the dedication of the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were prevented from doing because that department used to be weaponized and politicized. And this is what happens when you take out the fangs of weaponization. This number is historic by every metric. 28,000 people have been arrested, violent felons alone.
And that is the correct thing. This is the deal is we've talked about this before about what the FBI, the FBI actually does have a purpose. And this is the correct way to go about this because you need to get back the trust of people who need to have some sort of trust in the FBI. And the best way to do that is have them actually go after and do their jobs, like actually go after felons, actually go after people that are violent criminals, actually go after large criminal networks. That's what it should do. That's what the FBI is supposed to do. What it was doing for many years was not that. Okay, I mean, what it was doing for many years. There's even a report we have from an FBI agent who was in, I think it was at the New Orleans terror attack. He said, unfortunately, the FBI, the only thing they do is go after people with MAGA hats on. That's what he said. That was an FBI agent that said that to a reporter. It's like amazing to me that this is what you're supposed to be actually a real law enforcement agency that actually has a real job and a real purpose. But you didn't do that for many years because the entire system was corrupted by the Biden DOJ and the Obama DOJ. That's what they wanted to do with it. They wanted to take it and use it against their political enemies. That's the only thing that they did with those agencies. Instead of having them actually do their jobs, actually go out there and stop violent crime, that's what it should have been doing. They didn't do it. Now it's actually going back in the opposite direction, and no one should be surprised by this. They shouldn't be. I mean, this is what happens when you actually let them do their jobs and you remove all of the top end structure from it, which is why all the people got shifted out of the Washington field office. All those GS people that were the high level people sitting around the Washington field office are now been forced out. So, this is the correct way to go about it, though, because it would be great. It'd be really nice, actually, if we can get back to the point where I am one of the few people that actually hates the FBI because I think it's a useless, corrupt, terrible organization. I've thought that my whole life. But, it'd be nice if everybody else didn't think it too. And it's much better for the country if we go back in the opposite direction where it's like the one loner person that's like, well, do you guys not see Ruby Ridge? Did you not see the Waco? Did you not see all this stuff? Like maybe those are horrible incidents of the FBI. Maybe you need to go read the Finder files, all those stuff. Like That sort of stuff should not be common to the point that everybody thinks that everything that the FBI does is terrible. Okay, I mean, I have never been a fan of the FBI, but it's better for the country if almost everybody else is. So hopefully we can get back to that, and I think this is the right way to do it. Arrest lots of violent criminals, lots of them, and this is just the correct way to go about it. So good for Cash that he's actually managed to get this stuff forward here, and getting rid of the weaponization is the key aspect to that, I think. I mean, when you actually have them focused on real jobs, actually going after real crimes and make that the incentive, then suddenly you get a lot of arrest. Who's surprised by that? You shouldn't be.
I'm not, actually. And this is what I've been fighting for in a weird way. And it's weird because, like, you know how much I hate the FBI. Like, I do. At the same time, the field agents and the people that working on, like, these serious crimes, including the online grooming communities, like Terrorgram, like the mass shooting casualty people, the FBI has been responsive, at least the people in the field, and they've taken it very seriously, and they've made arrests. Matter of fact, I was sent a couple clips. I haven't seen them yet. And I was sent some information about how Cash was actually talking about many of these militant accelerationists that exist in many of these different communities, these digital communities. And been talking about them for some time. I mean, we're talking, I guess I'm going on three and a half years now at this point, been talking about this. It's heartening to see, but yet we have a national body politic that is controlled by a lot of incompetent, stupid people that don't know what they have in their hands. And I don't necessarily want to abolish federal law enforcement, but I also don't agree with what they've done. With that being said, it seems to me that we are entering an era where we can actually, like, rely on that a little bit. And I would like to get back to that country. Sure, I'm going to have my fringe element, views on things, right? But, like, ultimately, I think that we actually need to be focused on rebuilding that a little bit. And honestly, like, I supported Dan, I supported Cash, I supported all these people for a long time, and they're seeing it through. I'm 8 months into an administration, and we're getting more out of an 8-month administration than we've ever gotten my entire life as an adult as a voting public bloc. So, like, why the fuck would I want to insert myself and say, well, you're not doing it exactly the way I want it done? Who am I? Who am I? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dan is the person for this, by the way. I love all the people. How many people have said now that Dan's about to leave? Oh, Dan's going to go out. He'll be out in a week. He'll be out in 2 weeks. And this is like, how many times have they said that now? Like, we got to get it. We start putting up a tally board for that. In fact, I'll buy a blackboard and hang it back here. And I want to put that on the wall. How many times you think he's going to quit before he never does? Like that. I think I should do that. That'd be great. I'll put it up. I'll put it up right there in the back so you guys can see it. I'll put up Dan's board. And it'll be every time that they claim that he's about to leave the FBI, and then they arrest somebody that we were really waiting for them to arrest.
Whatever happened to that energy, because Eric Schmidt became the co-deputy director of the FBI, that all of a sudden that Dan Bongino was going to leave. Where was that energy? I mean, I remember that a month ago, but y'all are talking about it now? Like, yeah, I'm talking about it now.
Yeah, it seems they got real quiet, didn't they? They all the chattering hens about that got real silent when it turns out that he didn't leave at all. You know when they got really quiet, though, Trash? It was right around the time when the Secret Service busted a giant sim farm from foreign people that were, running the swatting rings, which they got real quiet after that. It was like,
Yeah.
All that interesting commentary just evaporated overnight after that happened. I thought that was hysterical. I was like, oh, so now you guys get it, don't you? Maybe he's actually doing something, and you guys just don't get it. I mean, it is funny to watch, though, so it is very entertaining. All right, guys.
We got like an hour. We got like an hour 18 left. I think we should probably bring some people up. If you guys want to request, come up. This is the time to bring your comments, concerns, analysis, whatever you want to do into the space.
Yep, you guys are welcome to come up here and join us on stage. If you guys are listening on all of our other streams, that apparently everything is working, which is amazing. We haven't had any major technical difficulties this evening. That might be a first for us. But make sure you guys share this space out. Make sure you guys share out the link to the show. If you guys want to follow us on X, it's at WC Dispatch and at Trash Discourse. This is Walter Kurt, and Trash Discourse is the host of this show. Weeknights at 9. Thank you guys for being here. You can always check us out at WCDispatch.com. That's where this show is always going to be live at 9 p.m. every night. So we're starting to grow the all the different platforms out. So eventually, I think we're going to try and see if we can get onto. Someone mentioned Facebook earlier, and I'm like, I have like this aversion to Facebook.
Please, God.
I hate Facebook a lot. Mostly because they at one point I actually had a pretty decent Facebook group following that I'd started, and it was growing and growing and growing. And then they just deleted it and it was just gone. And I never had access to it again. Had 50, 60,000 people that were paying attention to it. And then suddenly they just, whoop, you're gone. Goodbye. So, I just don't like Facebook very much. I'm sure they did that pretty much everywhere else as well. But at least now there's somewhere that actually has this, that I can actually speak and things that actually, this account that, by the way, my ex account I went from 3,000 to 100,000 followers in a single year. Speaking of which, that'll be coming up. The year anniversary of that. So 100,000 followers in 1 year will be on November 8th. So that'll be interesting. So that's kind of cool to mention. But anyway, guys, make sure you guys share the space out if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you guys leave us a review. That does help the show. And if you want to support this show, WCDispatch.com, you could subscribe to me on Substack. It's only $5 a month on there. We've got Jacktron up here on stage. What is up, Jacktron?
Hey, man, have you been seeing this town hall on CNN that has been a gold mine of content?
No, what is the town hall on?
It is Bernie Sanders and AOC. She has dropped some real bangers. It's mainly talking about like the government shutdown, and we have been hearing some real gold nuggets. Like AOC says, like, what about drinkable air? So, did you know this? Did you know that air is drinkable?
What? Hold on a minute here. Who's posting? Is there people posting clips of this? I assume someone's got to have clips of this out already.
The rapid response has been posting clip after clip of this town hall.
Oh, Rapid Response is doing it? Oh, that's great then. That means that the White House is laughing at it. So let me go ahead and pull this up. See what they've got here for the AOC town hall. What do we have here? Crazy Bernie just got wrecked on national television. Oh my god, this is, man, I didn't know this was happening. This makes me very excited now. Let me see what we got going on here, guys. Hold on a minute here. We've got some entertainment, breaking news.
Yeah, he also says, according to Bernie Sanders, you know who owns X? It's not Elon Musk. It's Jeff Bezos.
What? Okay, here let's play some of these clips and then we'll talk about them as we listen to them. So this should be pretty entertaining stuff here for us, guys. Let's see what we got. So this is
Chuck Schumer's leadership
getting wrecked. Let's see what he has to say here.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
I think, look.
He sounds very American. I'm really actually concerned about what Indian constituency cares about American politics. Go fuck yourself.
Well, I just thought it was funny there that he's sitting there looking at him just like he knew that he was going to give him a terrible response and he just crushed him quickly though. I liked that. So what else do we hear?
What do you think about our gaming channels? Why do you want to cut us off? Why do you want to cut us off from monetization? Go fuck yourself. Either become an American, do your due diligence, become a naturalized citizen, or don't. Like, I don't care about your opinions anymore. I don't care about any of your opinions.
Let's see what this next one is. This is something about the bartender, so I assume it's AOC.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you?
Wait, hold on a minute here. Hold the phone. Hold the phone here. The title on this woman's name here, for those who are just listening, is bartender. What does the government shutdown have to do with your bar? Like, are you running the bar in the Capitol? Like, is that what I'm understanding here? Like, you're running the bar at the bottom of the FBI building? Like, I mean, what bar is shut down because of the government shutdown?
It's our dream. It's our dream. We had a dream that we could leech off a system where American taxpayers pay our way, and we don't like it that American taxpayers are not going to pay our way anymore. Our dream has been crushed.
Yeah, but what exactly? But what exactly does the government shutdown have to do with a bartender's position anywhere?
Nothing. That's the point.
Like it's just
That's
like
the
what? So
point.
let's see what she has to say here. There's another 30 seconds of this.
Doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I help to choose to guard my American dream.
We're going to do everything that we can to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse.
Okay, so
now he actually reveals something very revealing there. That he says that this is about not just about giving the illegals healthcare. This is about making sure that Trump doesn't win.
Well, yeah, I mean that's obvious though. Okay, like
Sure.
that's the
Yeah, we know that.
that's literally the only reason that they're doing this. By the way, but so I'm just mystified here. Like, how exactly does the bartender's life get altered by the government shutdown to the point that she can't buy a house and that her lease is ending? What like, are you still
her patrons can't? They actually can't, like, they can't incentivize, they can't itemize their expenses. They can't expense their bar trips anymore. And so we're going to suffer because they can't expense their bar trips anymore because it represents a foreign lobby. Like, get fucked. I don't care. None of us care. Like, you're making an inside the Beltway argument to the national public, and no one cares.
Amazing stuff here. So we've got one from, so this is Bernie Sanders here on ICE raids. This should be reasonably entertaining. Let's see what he's got to say here.
What he is trying to do and what ICE raids and knocking down doors are about is to make all of you afraid. You're a federal employee, don't speak up. You're a government official, don't speak up. You're in a law firm that somehow had clients taking on Trump, don't speak up because they're going to punish you. You are on CNN. We're going to sue you if you.
Wait a minute here. So wait a minute here. The question was about ICE raids, and he's now saying that they're designed to keep you quiet. Okay, so let me get this straight here. So just for a little bit of interesting analysis on this, just briefly, there has never been a time in my life, ever, by the way, ever, that I've had to worry about the federal government showing up and knocking my door down because I'm breaking federal law. And not only am I breaking federal law, I'm about to be deported because I'm an American citizen. What the hell are you talking about, you moron? Like, I mean, just this is so stupid. You know, it's about making sure you're silent. You must not be gone. You must not be quiet. These people are just clowns. What else does he have to say on this? It's just amazing.
Ask the wrong questions. My friends, what this is about is a movement toward authoritarianism.
Oh, God.
Intimidating.
Here we go. It's intimidating the voters. Oh, my Jesus. Oh, Bernie. He never disappoints in his stupidity, but let's see here. Here we go. Here's another one from Bernie here talking about the Republicans are more effective at messaging on social media than Democrats. Because tech companies and the mainstream media are in the tank for us? What? Okay, hold on a minute here. Let's see what he has to say here. This sounds amazing.
Republicans have been appealing to audiences, especially young people like myself, online using social media. Why does Republican messaging on social media seem so much more effective than Democratic messaging, and what can we do about it?
Well, that's a great question.
What can we do about it?
I think the Republicans are effective. They have learned a lot about social media. And by the way, it doesn't hurt that their friends own all of the major social media platforms. You know, Bezos owns Twitter or X. Zuckerberg owns Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. Mr. Ellison is going to own you pretty soon. I think he's going to take over CNN. Not to mention CBS.
He's talking about TikTok.
So these guys have, they can use algorithms now.
Republican.
Oh my God, it is painful stupidity. Painful
he doesn't
stupidity.
Even know what he's talking about.
He doesn't.
None of that's true.
Nothing that he said there was accurate. Like, it's just amazing to me. A Florida girl here says because the Republicans are sane. Yeah, like.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
like,
actually.
we get that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason that our messaging is effective, because we're not gay communists. You are correct about that. I mean,
That's correct. But like, that's not what's
wow.
happening here. Like,
This is amazing here. This is just
dude,
Bernie.
he's smarter than this. He knows that, like, he knows how all the social media companies or various people who own these IPs are acting. Like, he's lying about all of it. Like, look, you could make the argument to say, like, well, Mark Zuckerberg, he took a couple rounds of Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all of a sudden he's conservative. Okay, you can make that argument. You can say that Joe Rogan actually woke up and he was pushed into a corner and you were like, and he had nowhere else to go until he went with it. You can make the argument on the comedians. You can make all those arguments, but he's not even making cogent arguments. Everything he's saying is wrong. Like, it's not real. Like, none of that's true.
It's amazing to me. I love it. We got a comment here from Dusty Rhodes. He says he sounds like a really shitty Star Wars character. Yes, actually, that is accurate. He does sound like one of the, what are those aliens called? The ones that are like, it's a trap. Like he talks just like those things. Like I forget what those ones are called, but he talks just like the rebels that are like, it's a trap when the imperialists are coming after them. Yeah, like I have, these people are amazing. So this is very entertaining. I haven't seen any AOC clips played by the White House. Does that mean that she did better or she did worse? I'm not sure. But yes, good stuff here. Great clips from the Bernie Sanders, the leader of the Democrat Party right now, by the way. The socialist wing of the Democrat Party is in ascendancy, and Bernie Sanders, in his inability to actually form coherent sentences that have any even remote level of truth to them, looks like that was a complete and total fail. So that's good stuff. I enjoy that. That was fun. I liked that. I always enjoy watching Bernie Sanders make a complete and total clown of himself, though. But that's every time he speaks these days. I mean, what was the video we saw the other day of him and AOC like holding hands and walking down the street talking, and they were just like, you're my favorite member of the Congress. You just say, oh my goodness, dude, you're just insufferable. You're just insufferable, man. Like, yeah, I can't believe that the Democrats are so bad at messaging that Bernie Sanders is the one they put out there, and he can't even form correct sentences to even have even remotely accurate information. I love it. I love how bad they are at this. So it's very funny to watch, though. Bernie's smarter than that. Why did he call out Bezos? I don't know. I don't know why he called out Bezos, because Bezos he doesn't even own a social media company, which is why I thought that was pretty amazing there that he said that in the first place. It does. I mean, does Amazon have some form of social media at this point? Do they? I mean, I don't know. They buy a bunch of stuff. So I don't think so, though. Last I checked, they're just on Amazon. So I have no idea. Amazing, though. They use the algorithms. The algorithms. Like the funny part about all that is that he just described exactly what the left did to control the narrative for, I don't know, the better part of a decade, maybe more than that, longer than that, probably. So that was just, oh, Bernie. You got to love it, though. You got to love the terrible messaging out of the Democrats here. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have for this evening, guys? Okay, here we go. Here's an AOC clip from this same meeting here. This is a 20-second one. So let's see what AOC actually has to say on this.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places. And they want to call it a Democratic priority. Rivers...
Okay, what she said there is actually not incorrect. There is a famous story about, I think it's Cleveland, Ohio, where the Cleveland River literally set fire. But I don't know what that has to do with. I mean, aren't they talking about the government shutdown here? So what is she talking about here? Like, I guess I don't understand the question there. What is it she's really speaking about? I don't know. I have no idea what she's talking about there. AOC confirms that she's the only one in control of the party. Oh, here we go. This should be good. AOC confirming that she is the one that leads the Democrat Party here. So this should be pretty solid.
What does that need to look like before you would vote to reopen the government? Or is it commitment from the White House and Republicans enough?
No doubt.
I mean,
the president is a very honest man. And if he says something, man, you could take it to the bank.
So you're saying his word is not enough? Bankruptcy court.
His word?
No. So what do you need to see? What commitments from?
I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. I think we need to see votes. And I think we need to see these things pass on the floor of the House and the Senate and signed by President Trump. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
Okay, so you need a signature from President Trump in order to vote to reopen the government.
Correct.
Okay, Senator Sanders, we've
Hold
got
on a
another
minute
question.
here. Okay, did you guys pick up on that? Did you pick up on that? How stupid that was? AOC. Let me just lay this out here for you guys. AOC is a congresswoman in the House. She has no say over the government opening or shutting. None. Done. She has absolutely nothing to do with it. Like, nothing at all, actually. She has zero effect over whether or not the government opens or closes. She is not even a member of the Senate. She's not a member of the Senate. So I need ink on paper to be able to reopen the government. Who are you? You don't have that power. Okay, you're not even in the negotiation process unless, exactly what this person who quoted this out here said, unless she's saying that she is the one that's running the Senate, which is very interesting if that's the case. But yeah, AOC, you don't have you're irrelevant in this scenario. You're a member of the House. You don't have there is no authority that comes to you as a member of the House to be able to open or close the government. It is a Senate decision. And this is why it's still a Democrat shutdown, by the way, because the House Republicans already passed a clean CR and they're just waiting for it to go through the Senate now. So this has nothing to do with the House. So AOC has nothing to do with it at all, but apparently she does. Apparently for her, she needs that Trump's signature on all Democrat demands before anything goes forward. Very interesting stuff there, right there. I mean, that tells you that AOC holds significant sway over the Senate somehow. If they have ceded so much power to AOC, man, they are in trouble. I can't wait, though. I mean, if this is what they want to run with, this is what they want to do, then by all means, go right ahead. I'm okay with it. It doesn't matter to me at all. Let's see here. Because she mixes great drinks. That was her friend from the bar earlier that was on here that was talking about her not being able to keep the lease. That was her friend. So yes, you're probably right. She was having to teach her how to mix drinks because the government shut down. She can't teach her to mix more drinks. So she has to, she's not going to be able to get her loan. That's accurate. But I do find this just amazing though. So AOC has just confirmed that she runs the Democrat Party. So there we go. The Operation Let Them Speak is going to work out just fine for us. Going to work out just fine indeed.
Indeed. Let's get to some of the people that came up. We've got Southern. We've got a couple of people up.
Yeah, I can't see hands, so go ahead, whoever's up here.
Hey, guys. Great show. I just find it interesting. AOC said on TV when she was interviewed in her office, sitting down, asking about Chuck Schumer and then complaining about all the Republicans. Well, they have to come see me first in my office. Like she's over the Senate and the House. I was just, what? Gobsmacked on that one. And she said it very calmly and very deliberately with reporters. If they have a problem with it, they need to come see me first. So she believes she's got her boot on the neck of Chuck Schumer, which is stunning. But AOC, how many terms has she had? Is this her third term?
I'm not sure if she's on her third or fourth term, but I think she's either 3 or 4.
She has not passed one of her own bills. She has jumped in to co-author 4 other bills that came in late. So what the heck does she do?
Well, I mean, that's
influencer.
Well, yeah,
being an influencer.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. You have to remember that the Democrats doesn't matter. Like actually accomplishing things is irrelevant to them. That doesn't matter to them. They don't care if they accomplish goals. They don't care if you actually accomplish anything. All that matters to them is that you appear to do something. I think that's all that matters to them. Remember, Cory Booker stood on the Senate floor for however long it was, 24 something hours or whatever it was, not to stop legislation, not to actually prevent something or filibuster something, just to do it because Spartacus or something. I mean, he didn't actually accomplish anything. He didn't do anything. All he did is perform he just did a performance. That's it. So this is the Democrat Party now. They don't actually do anything. They just make sure that they appear that they do something.
I agree. Yeah, Cory Booker had on a pair of Depends, and at the end he admitted to be wearing them. But he is, he's engaged to a girl, it looks like his old girlfriend that is a actress. It was creepy.
Wait a
Really
minute. Wait a minute.
creepy.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You said that Cory Booker was wearing Depends and that he showed it to the public. This is
No,
news to
no,
me.
no, 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 no. He just made an off the wall comment. Because he did not go running to the bathroom like everybody thought he would.
I don't care about that. Are you saying that he was wearing Depends or not?
Yes. Wow, the things you like to stick on, Trash.
I do actually. I don't want hyperbole. Actually, I do stick on them. I don't want hyperbole. So it didn't happen. You're just like saying things.
What did I say, Trash? I said he was
You said he was wearing Depends and he had to run to the bathroom to check
No,
his.
he did not run. He didn't run to the bathroom, and that shocked me. And somebody made a comment.
So it's
and he kind of
hyperbole. It's not true.
He patted his buttocks and said, "I'm protected." Those are Depends.
Okay.
Those are Depends. So hyperbole off your way, Trash.
Anyway,
I'm landing my plane.
yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's just, whatever. Cory Booker is just another. But the point still stands. Is that they don't actually care. That doesn't matter to them. They don't actually have to accomplish anything at all. They don't. That's not important to the Democrats. Actually getting things done doesn't matter. It's all about the performance. All about just getting people to see stuff and, being social media influencers and being Spartacus on the House floor and taking so much Adderall that you look like your teeth are chattering out of your face and you're literally exploding. That's all they do. So, the AOC not having pushed any bills forward, that's not surprising. I mean, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't do anything at all. It's the same with Jasmine Crockett. I mean, Jasmine Crockett's own staff that has come out and said, we're like, no, she has no interest in actually being a congresswoman. She just wants to be a social media influencer. That's all she cares about. So, I mean, it's not really that surprising anyway. Okay, guys, we've got about 50 minutes left in the show here. I do want to move over to Virginia stuff because there is some interesting things that came out today about Virginia. So the Loudoun County case, there's two different things that came out today, actually. One is in Loudoun County. For those who are aware of what's going on in Loudoun County, there was the big story that came out from the school board that was prosecuting going after three teenage boys for Title IX violations for there was a trans identifying a trans person that was in one of their locker rooms that pulled out a video camera and started recording them, and they called it out and said they were uncomfortable. But as a result of that, they opened a Title IX investigation and said that those kids were practicing, were doing sexual harassment or something like that. That's what they were doing. The result of that, was that they moved forward with that investigation and actually ended up going after each one of those kids. Now, what happened as a result of it, the next thing is this is what happened today. A judge in that case decided that because of that case and because it was struck down by, a court in that area, that to keep the case going and to keep it going, they then had to put up $125,000 bond, $125,000 bond to keep the actual story, or to keep the case alive. And that's it was supposed to be for legal fees for Loudoun County Public Schools. So the judge in this case did that. And as a result of that, shortly afterwards, someone opened up a Give, Send, Go. And within like 2 hours, they had already met the $125,000 bond goal. So did not work out well for them. But this is amazing to me that they're going to try and claim that this isn't going to work for them. That they're going to say that instead of suspending the female student, that the boys they got the suspension for it, and they're going to put this on their record. But yeah, so U.S. District Court Leonie Brinkman ordered the parents to post a $125,000 bond by the end of the day today, which was October 15th, to cover the LCPS legal expenses. The order aims to ensure that if LCPS prevails on the dispositive pretrial motions, LCPS can recover the funds from that bond for its attorney fees. That is from Nick Minock at ABC7 that reported that earlier today. Now, I thought it was pretty incredible that they ordered that it was have to be that day, that they had to come up with $125,000 that day to be able to cover it. But it looks to me like Give, Send, Go immediately got blown out and they immediately got what they needed, which I find pretty amazing, to be honest with you. It's kind of incredible that they actually got the money so quickly. What that does tell me is that tells me that people are pissed. People are really pissed off, and that they're not going to sit with this at all. And they shouldn't, to be honest with you. I mean, this is nonsense. This is just more stuff from the Northern Virginia schools trying to actually strong-arm parents into doing whatever they want for their ridiculous policies. And the Title IX investigation that's ongoing is just going to continue to spiral because they're going to try and fight it every step of the way. And what they're really doing is all they want to do is they want to wait and see if they get Spanberger into office, because they think if they have Spanberger in office, then they'll have the governorship and they'll be able to fight the Trump administration from the state level. I don't know what they think, how they think that's going to work, though, because the Attorney General of Virginia would be the one doing that. And I don't think Jay Jones is going to win. He might have some issues. I'm not sure if Jay Jones has a chance in hell at winning, actually. So that is pretty amazing to me that they're continuing to fight this stuff. And then on the same day, or not exactly the same day, but in the same vein as this, the Fairfax story that I broke back in August about the minors getting abortions, right? So this is the story that, if those don't know this, the story is that there's two minor girls that were given abortions, or they were coerced into getting abortions. Coerced into getting abortions, okay? And apparently their parents were not told. Now, that's against the law in Virginia. So that's actually against the law in Virginia for that to happen. So that went forward, and then there was a state police investigation that was opened, and then there was a Title IX investigation that was opened, and then there was a Senate inquiry that was opened. So all of that's going on right now. All of those investigations are currently ongoing. Well, today, or a couple days ago, I was actually on, and I was informed by a couple of the whistleblowers in this case that Fairfax County schools are pressuring those teachers and actually trying to give retaliation against them for their jobs. And they're trying to pressure them with a whole bunch of other nonsense. So these Northern Virginia schools are still completely out of control. They have no intention of stopping until they're going to be forced to stop. And what I'm telling you, what they're really doing is they're just hoping that they manage to get over, top of Spanberger trying to get into office. That's all they want. So they're going to try and stall. They're going to try and do whatever they want, and they're going to spend millions of dollars to do so. And they've got King and Spalding in the Fairfax case, one of the most expensive law firms in the country is defending them. And they're trying to strong arm the whistleblowers into actually not getting this information up. So the Northern Virginia schools continue to be a problem. And it couldn't have come at a better time that this ridiculous decision trying to post a $125,000 bond by the end of the day. You couldn't be a better time for all this. They want to keep doing this stuff. They're crazy. So I'm curious what the Give, Send, Go is actually at now. Let me see if I can find the actual link to this. Actually, it says that this is a 404 code. So let me see if I can find another one. The original link that was on there was over $90,000 when I saw it earlier today. And that was only a couple hours after that posted. So I'll see if I can find that. But I'm curious to see what the actual numbers are right now. But it's amazing to me that the Loudoun County schools are just going to continue to move forward with this stuff. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I'm trying to see if I can find this the Give, Send, Go information, because I wanted to put it up on the screen to see if people wanted to take part in this, but I cannot seem to find the current Give, Send, Go link. I'll look and see if I can figure it out on their website, though, because I'm sure that link is somewhere on here. Let me look it up. Loudoun County. Okay. I don't know. I think Give, Send, Go is actually having problems, because if you just search anything on their website, it doesn't work at all. So they must just be having issues. But anyway, last time I looked at that, it looked like they were actually going to meet the goal. So I'm curious where it's at now. So if anybody has the link to that, that'd be the way to go about it. Guys, we've only got about 40 minutes left in the show now. So if you guys want to come up here and join us on stage, you're welcome to do so. Make sure you guys check out WCDispatch.com. Make sure you guys share the link to this show. Make sure you guys share the link to all of the different links that we have on all of the different platforms. Thank you guys for being here this evening. But if there's more stuff on Virginia, though, I'm curious to see, the Virginia Democrats, when they came out here earlier, when they were talking about Winsome Sears having to disavow the Republicans, that was an amazing cell phone as well. I have still yet to see them actually present any real messaging, like at all. I haven't seen them come up with anything that they can use to try and sway people back in the opposite direction. Spanberger, every time she posts anything, she just gets destroyed online, and her messaging is not improving. As far as I can tell, it's just nothing but more and more AI-generated slop. which is amazing that they think that's actually going to go and work well for them. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing there. It does not appear to be working for them. But what is the current Kalshi betting market on the Attorney General? Has that moved at all? I know it was over 60% before.
Yeah, it flopped. Myeris is actually in the lead on the Kalshi betting market. It flip-flopped. Jay Jones is in trouble.
Yeah, let me look and see what that is now. Kalshi betting markets. I want to see what the poly market before was pretty bad as well. So I'm curious what this is now.
Yeah, it flip-flopped. You'll see it.
Event contracts are on the way. What is this? Okay, hold on a minute here. Let's see if I can figure out what the current numbers are for Virginia. Virginia governor's winner still showing 93% for Spanberger, but will Jay Jones drop out? That looks like that's at 12%, but where's the okay? So yes, Republican Party's now at 63% on the Attorney General race. So that has completely swapped.
Yeah, it's not even close. Like it's a problem for them. So
yeah, I don't think that's going to go well for them at all. I'm thinking I still think it's amazing to me that these numbers show, like even the numbers for the Virginia governor's election and whatnot, like it's still showing such a low percentage. It's so unrealistic to me. Like I'm still telling people I think that this is just going to shoot up and towards election day. It's going to shift back in the opposite direction. I think that's probably what's going to happen because I know we saw that on the presidential election. We saw that shift really, really heavily.
yeah, no, I think we're entering Glenn Youngkin territory. But I need people out there fighting and yelling and screaming and going after everything else. But I think we're entering the same kind of category that we entered in October 2021, thanks to Robin, who pointed it out to me today. I think we are entering 2021 territory. I don't see how Virginia Democrats recover from this. I just don't.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I've said from the beginning of this Jay Jones stuff coming out. It's like, how do you recover from this? Because you boxed yourself into this corner. What are you going to do? I mean, how are you going to get yourself out of it? You're the ones that kept yourself in this corner, and now you can't leave that corner. Looks like Tucker Carlson had a bit on the Virginia attorney candidate today. Looks like he was on with Steve Bannon talking about this earlier. It's the full podcast, so I'm not going to play it, but you guys should go check that out. I'm actually curious what Tucker had to say on that. Look and see if there's some other information here about the Virginia, if there's any more information talking about this, but it doesn't look like it. No, of course, now all of the Virginia Republicans are just creaming them on this. Sears must call on all the young Republicans to talk about to step down out of the racist text scandal. Like, yeah, you guys are so stupid bringing this up. Like, how are you this bad at this? That's what I don't understand. I said that earlier. I was like, how are you this bad at it? Like, anything to do with text messages in Virginia, you would think that you would just run from the hills on it. But no, you put out a press release talking about it like this is going to be some sort of win for you. It's an obvious self-own. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing either. This is why I shouted out earlier in the space. I said, I don't know what the GOP in Virginia and many other states are doing, but like, I guess, whatever, man. These people are so woefully incompetent. We have years to break this up. Years, not months, years. I still think the Virginia race is actually a serious problem for Democrats. They really thought their Southern strategy would move through Virginia. It's not going to. It's just not going to. It's just not. And these people are fucking retarded. I can't deal with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you would think that they would have some sort of shift in messaging as you get closer to this, but it's not working well for them. Oh, I forgot to play this clip earlier. Did you see this Nancy Pelosi clip earlier where she flipped out at the reporter?
Oh, I definitely saw the Nancy Pelosi clip. This was, what's her name, through Lendell TV when she approached Nancy Pelosi on the steps of the Capitol building. Yeah, play it.
Yeah, I forgot to play this earlier. Let me play this real quick because this is beautiful.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
I love the look on her face too. The look on her face, the reporter's face here. I forget this woman's name, but she's awesome. She's done a bunch of
I
these.
think it's Allison something.
Yeah. I forget what her name is, but she's fantastic. But I just love this look here, just like the absolute. Just I got that clip. Yes, I did get that.
Yeah, you got to see the Puerto Rican version of this.
Oh, I'm sure it's beautiful. Do they put a sombrero? Do they put a sombrero on her or something? Is that what they do?
No. You just got to see it.
Okay, well, I'll go look. I'll look for it here in a minute. But my favorite part about this is how Nancy Pelosi is being she's being led away by her security that's holding her hand so she doesn't fall. Man, I cannot wait until we get the geriatrics out of power. I cannot wait for that moment. That's going to be very nice when we actually get the geriatrics out of power because these people are the worst. All of them are. All of the geriatrics in Congress need to go. Okay, I like Chuck Grassley, but even Chuck Grassley he's 1,000 years old. Can we get some new blood in there for the love of God? You guys, the boomers, the boomers need to go. You just need to move on, guys. You need to get out of power. You need to move on. You let some new people in there. Of course, Nancy Pelosi, she'll be just like Dianne Feinstein, where she'll literally die on the floor. That'll be how that happens. So I assume they're just going to cart her around until she finally falls. I mean, that's the only way that'll happen. All right, let me see if I can find us some other content here for the last bit of this show. We've only got about 30 minutes left, but to be honest with you, we don't have a whole lot more to go on here, guys. So we might just end early because if we don't have, here we go. Here's the correct link for the Give, Send, Go. Okay, what is this at now? Let me see. Someone sent me the correct link here. I'm curious what this is. Oh, yeah, so they got the goal. Yeah, so they have 126,000 out of the 125,000, so they already did it. So they already got the amount of money that they needed to get this loan. So this is already done. And I'll put that up so people can see this. This is the Give, Send, Go for this. And it's Loudon 3 is what the Give, Send, Go link is. So Loudon 3. But it looks like they're already there. They already hit the goal, so they've got it done already. So that tells you a lot, to be honest with you. That tells you that people are done. They're done with this nonsense. They're done with this woke crap. So I'm not surprised that they managed to raise the money that quickly. We do have Jess up here on stage. I know you've tried to join the show before, Jess. So how are you this evening?
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, hi guys. How are you guys? Walter and Trash. Thank you for letting me speak. I've been wanting to come on before, but I don't know. Something happened, between then. I think you guys might have been ending the show or whatnot. But I just wanted to let you guys know, I really enjoy the spaces that you guys hold, cause I usually listen to it around 6 o'clock my time, cause I'm on the West Coast. I usually listen to it, cause it kind of calms me down and it's really informative, but also entertaining for me. And you guys are really good people. And for me, when I put stuff on here, it's not for money. I don't do this what I do for money. I actually am hungry and starving for truth, and I want to put that out there too. You know, try and open people's eyes, wake people up like you guys are doing. And I just want to say that just that right now, I've been watching everything that's going on, with Trump and everything. And I saw a video he did earlier about what he said. I guess what happened to him, where they raided his house at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, the man has been through so much all these years. Not just him, but the people that he worked with, like his voters. I mean, they came to his house. They came to their house and like those are my dogs. Sorry about that. Yeah, but they came to people's homes to intimidate, harass them for within the past 4 years when the other side was running it and doing all kinds of things to literally take down Trump supporters, you know, and from what happened to you guys, what happened a few months ago, all of that's together. And because of what the other side did, I want them now. I don't know how I kind of want retribution for what they did to us all these years.
And that's the point, Jess. I think that's the point, though, is like, and the people that have been in this for a while that know what's going on know that it's not a joke, really. Retribution is not necessarily like, it's not like it's just some sort of thing where like, oh, I want, definite revenge. And, it's like, it's not some sort of horrible thing. It's like, no, there needs to be accountability. There has to be. You have to have accountability for the actions of these corrupt individuals, because if you don't get it, they'll do it again. And that's the point. They'll do it again. That's why you have to have it. That's why there is not an option. It must be done. There has to be some level of accountability for the actions that these people took, because if you don't have it, you will have these people get back into power and they'll do the exact same thing they just did, and then we don't have a country. We don't have a country if the intelligence agencies can open up law enforcement actions and open up counterintelligence actions against sitting presidents, then they're the ones in charge of the country, not the voters. That's why there must be accountability for this stuff. Otherwise, you completely lose faith in the system. You're never going to get anybody back. People like me, people that have seen the stuff, seen behind the scenes, know what's really going on. You're never going to convince us to have faith in this country if you do not have accountability for these actions. And it's not just about retribution. It is about actually restoring the balance of this country, showing that everybody is equal underneath this law, and that everybody in this country, if you do bad things, you can be prosecuted for it. And it doesn't matter to you if you're some major figure in some looks like we lost the X feed, but it doesn't matter if you're some figure in the government in some high position. It doesn't matter.
You can be prosecuted.
Well, it looks like I lost the X feed, guys. So that's eventually going to come back up at some point here. Am I back on stage here now, Trash?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. Looks like it dropped for a moment there. I don't know where it cut out for me, but the point stands. I mean, the point is that we don't have a country if we don't have accountability. That's all that really matters there.
Yep, I believe that. And it's like, here goes my dogs again. But yeah, it's just all that I'm seeing right now, from even, with these people that are out there protesting too. It's just like, I don't see why they're doing that for illegals. I mean, they're not here they came the wrong way. I mean, why are you protesting for people like that? I mean, we're actually the ones paying for them to stay here, and people that are on fixed incomes, it's taking away from them. Like my family, my dad's retired.
Jess, I understand the concept here. I mean, I get it. The idea is very simple. Is that the deal is that the illegals are absolutely taking away from American citizens, and that should never be. And that's just not acceptable. Yeah. I mean, that's the reality of it. But guys, I think we're actually going to end up. Looks like there we go. Guys, it looks like we're actually going to cut down for the show this evening here, because I've got some stuff. I got to see if I can get this editing done on all of the new platforms we have, and I need to go check some stuff for this new show. So thank you guys for showing up this evening. This is the Political Theater, weeknights at 9. Thank you guys for showing up this evening. Thank you everybody who showed up and actually left comments and actually engaged with the show. We appreciate everybody who does so. We will see you guys tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for more of the theater. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark. Their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no. We ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised heirs, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yeah, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast one. No, we won't be spun.